I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. All right, we will begin tonight's meeting with awards and recognitions. Dr. Battle, it looks like we'll be discussing, oh, I'm sorry, I am so sorry, we need to adopt our agenda. Do we have any amendments to the agenda as it is listed? I see Mrs. Masters and Mrs. Tyler, go right ahead.
I'd like to pull A1D from the consent agenda for discussion.
Okay, that's the TDOE pilot plan?
Correct.
All right.
and I'd like to pull A1AC7, Stars Nashville.
Okay, all right. All right, we'll pull those two from the consent agenda. Do we have any, or do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Dr. Battle, it looks like we have a couple of maybe several National Merit Scholarship finalists. Please take it away.
We sure do. Thank you, Chair Buggs, and good evening, board members and those joining us in the audience. Tonight, I'm excited to recognize and honor 16 amazing students from our graduating class of 2020. Each of these high school seniors was recently named a finalist for the National Merit Scholarship, a prestigious honor that just 7,500 students in the entire nation receive each year. That puts them in the top 1% of all seniors across the United States. These students have proven themselves with their skills, their accomplishments, and their potential for success at academically rigorous colleges and universities. This is a tremendous honor, and I'm proud of each of you and so grateful for your families, your teachers, your principals, and everyone else who has been with you every step of the way. So I'm going to ask you to please come up to the podium as I call your name if you're able to be with us tonight. First, I would like to recognize from Hillwood High School, Rudro Patel. Out with us for a few minutes up front. Get used to that. From Hume Fogg Academic Magnet High School, Arden Anderson. Justin Averbush. Eli Burge. Emily Gilmer. Anastasia Gukastova. Sharon Lee. Jennifer Lee. Elizabeth Peebles. And Renee Shee. From Martin Luther King Jr. Academic Magnet High School, Eric Lutz. Alexander Mayo. Laurel Nichols. Julie Quee. And Zion Raymond. And let's also recognize from Nashville School of the Arts, Maya Underwood. Listen, these students make us proud with their talent, their dedication, their diligence, and their ambition. Let's stand to our feet and give them a round of applause and congratulate them. National Merit finalists, if you can join us back here, kind of on the stage with the respective board members, we would love to get a quick photo with you before you head out. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Hillwood, Hillwood.
Yes. Okay, Hillwood.
I mean,
Well, she's young too, so. Yeah, it's like she takes, Foster to Melrose. It's not that much. It's not that.
I do see NSA students, like, like they go to that Goodwill
Yeah.
down there a lot. I do see them like milling around, hanging out there.
Yeah.
Please give these young people another round of applause. All right, as they are exiting, before we move on to Director's report, Mrs. Pupil-Walker.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a point of personal privilege and apologize for my language last meeting. Not professional, not something we should want to see from staff and students, certainly not something I'm proud of. Just wanted to apologize to everybody. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that, Mrs. Pupil-Walker. All right, and Dr. Battle, we will move to Director's report. We'll be discussing core tenant 3, creating, supporting, engaging rigorous and personalized learning experiences for all students. Thank you, Dr. Battle. Take it away.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. We'll go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with just a quick update around where we are with COVID cases in our schools. The number of COVID-19 cases in our schools has continued to decline since the board met last week, with the latest report from last week showing 40 students tested positive and 15 staff, which is close to our low point last semester and indicates that the situation has continued to improve. We're in a place where we can consider, as we have previously, around our universal mask requirements when students return after spring break. This also coincides with new recommendations from the CDC showing it is safe to begin modifying universal mask requirements in schools when cases and hospitalization counts are lower. We will continue to remind families and staff of these upcoming changes with an important message for everyone to continue to be kind, courteous, and considerate of others who might make different choices when it comes to masking. Let's continue to support one another. As a reminder, masks will still be encouraged, and we'll have KN95 masks available at all schools for students or staff who need them. So we'll continue to support in that way. Now, I wanted to take a few moments to give a brief overview of what we know so far about the state's proposed change to the current school funding system that is being called the Tennessee Investment in Student Achievement Act, or TISA. Oh. The BEP is a resource-based funding formula with allocations, where allocations are made for certain items like teachers, paraprofessionals, nurses, transportation, and et cetera. TISA is supposed to be a student-based budget formula with a base amount that is increased through weights around student or district characteristics. Here, you'll see what the state of Tennessee is projecting will be the MNPS share of TISA funding in the FY 23-24 school year if this goes into law. There are a few factors to note. One, this does not include pre-K students which aren't funded through the BEP or TISA. The state is showing a base of 79,595 students among MNPS traditional and charter schools, Achievement School District, and Charter Commission. Economically disadvantaged is defined as those students who qualify for direct certification, which we'll get to in greater detail in a few slides. Concentrated poverty represents students enrolled in a Title I school. Small and sparse are not for us. Charter are those students in charter schools that funding will flow to them. And unique learning needs, 1 through 10, are not established in law, but will be promulgated by rule. The state has provided a crosswalk that was used for their projections, which include existing SPED codes 1 through 10, English learners tiers 1 through 3, and characteristics of dyslexia, which for projection purposes are assumed to be 5% of the student population for schools. Those are the weighted funding amounts. There are also direct funding amounts which aren't subject to local match provisions, which include $500 for students in K-3, $500 for rising fourth graders who are below proficient on TCAP, $5,000 for students enrolled in CTE programs, and $185.34 for juniors or seniors who haven't yet taken or have only taken one ACT exam. This results in an overall funding allocation of $776.7 million on paper in TISA, of which only $324.8 million comes from state dollars, and the other $451.9 million comes from our required local match. The required local match only really comes into effect if that number exceeds the maintenance of effort, which is the total amount of revenue a local government directs towards an LEA. Currently, we are more than $300 million above the required local match in the maintenance of effort. One aspect where this does matter is in terms of how we allocate funds to charter schools. Currently, it is the total amount of local and state funding divided by the number of students, with a per pupil amount given to each charter school. Under this new proposal, the charter schools will receive allocations based on these TISA calculated funded amounts, and then anything MNPS gets from Metro above the TISA funding amount is then given to charters based on that per pupil amount. We don't yet know what the fiscal impact is going to be, related to this, as the TDOE has been unable to provide a breakdown between MNPS and charter schools for these various ULNs and ADM projections, and we've requested those. Going further as to what this means for Metro schools, here's a breakdown of the state funding increase per pupil. Nashville will receive one of the lowest amounts per pupil based on these state projections, with $159 more per student compared to a state average of $1,098 per student. This chart here shows the total amount of funding for a select number of districts, along with the state and local funding split. Davidson County and Sevier County, which is home to Dollywood and Gatlinburg, have a greater local match compared to state match. Here we see our state per pupil funding amounts under TISA. MNPS is just slightly above Sevier County in terms of funding, but that doesn't include a special exemption that they get in state law that allows them to receive a grant above the normal BEP or TISA amount. So why does Nashville lose out so much on state funding? A good part of it has to do with fiscal capacity, which equates to the share of the total local match that each county must shoulder. MNPS and Davidson County taxpayers have been losing out because of this for several years, and it will only get worse under TISA, which they chose to use a fiscal capacity index that is least advantageous to Metro Nashville. Under this plan, MNPS would currently shoulder 17.99% of the local match under these projections. We should all note that this is based on the current CBER fiscal capacity numbers, and this might go up by 2023-24, meaning Nashville students could get even less of the state funding. One of the aspects of concern we have relates to how the state calculates economically disadvantaged. For a while now, Tennessee has used direct certification as the metric for economically disadvantaged, which represents students whose families have applied for and received the various state and federal benefits mentioned on this slide, with the bulk of them coming through SNAP. A few issues with this metric is that the income limits are based on state income levels and do not necessarily reflect the higher cost of living in Nashville compared to other surrounding counties, meaning that families who are experiencing financial stress in a very real sense may not be represented in the economically disadvantaged numbers. It doesn't include those families who might qualify for free and reduced price lunch, but for various reasons are not able to apply for state or federal benefits. Those students still need the additional wraparound SEL and academic supports, but they will not be funded under this new formula. This is part of a broader point, which is that the funding formula goes to great lengths to address rural poverty or challenges unique to those student populations or districts, but doesn't do anything to address the higher cost of living in Nashville. And in fact, we get penalized severely for the growth in real estate property values and our own sale taxes. These three charts summarize the problem. Our student population is 8.28% of the state's total. Davidson County must shoulder 18% of the entire local match requirement of the state. Our share of the new investment proposed by the state of Tennessee is 1.2% based on the current projections, or $12.6 million out of more than $1 billion in the new state funding. So in short, this may be an investment plan for some districts throughout Tennessee, but it represents a continued divestment by the state from Metro Nashville Public Schools, with added strings and red tape that won't necessarily result in better outcomes for our students. There's no legal or policy reason for this to pass as is in the next few weeks, and I hope lawmakers will take their time, do their due diligence, and get this right for all students, including those here in Nashville. Now, that was a lot, but we're going to keep going. More to unpack. I'd like to welcome up Dr. Elisa Norris, who will kick off some updates about Metro Schools Reimagined and will further justify why we've got to continue to advocate for the funding our students need, our schools need, our teachers need in order to continue to advance our work. She's going to provide an update around Metro Schools Reimagined work that is aligned to support the academic and social-emotional well-being of our students. Dr. Norris, if you don't mind, I will turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Battle, and good evening, Board. Thank you for another opportunity to share about Metro Schools Reimagined. During my brief time with you, I'll be returning us to the why of this work. Then you'll be hearing from my colleagues, Dr. Jamie Lomax and Dr. Matt Nelson, about some great progress that we've made around two of our uniform strategies. When the district embarked on the Metro Schools Reimagined journey, we asked, what types of systems are required to ensure that every MNPS student has access to high-quality instructional materials, passionate, innovative, and highly effective teachers, and safe and welcoming learning environments? The answer, then, is the Metro Schools Reimagined vision, which is to reimagine the ways in which MNPS provides equitable educational opportunities for all students through a synthesis of in-depth academic data dives, community input and feedback, and research about how to best support students and communities. We always return to the vision as we collaborate with schools to assist them in fostering their unique school communities that are driven toward academic success and SEL growth and development. As a reminder, I draw our attention to the reimagined pathway to success. Through Reimagined, we focus on each tier and its role in creating pathways to success for all students. In elementary, great attention is given to setting the proper foundations for continuous academic success and SEL development. Middle school experiences, then, center on continued student engagement and academic achievement. High school students can expect that they are well prepared for post-secondary success because of the academic achievements and SEL development that they received throughout their cluster experience. We start with the end in mind by incorporating in the early grades ready graduate experiences that are strengthened through robust transition plans and supports. Through the reimagined uniform strategies, we are setting high expectations for all students through establishing uniform strategies to be used across the district. Allowing school leaders and their teams to tailor these strategies for their school communities means that there will be consistency in the delivery of high-quality teaching and engaging experiences from cluster to cluster, quadrant to quadrant. All in all, this work represents how the district prioritizes the integration of SEL and academics from planning to practice. This constellation of uniform strategies creates the foundations necessary to ensure that all MNPS students engage in advanced academics. More especially, they point us to the district's North Star, which is to establish MNPS as the premier large school district in Tennessee and beyond. And I want to highlight and beyond. The board has heard recent updates about the progress made with fifth grade transitions and SEL enhanced supports and resources via advocacy centers in elementary schools. This evening, Dr. Lomax will be sharing more about peace centers at the secondary tier, another component of the SEL enhanced supports and resources uniform strategy. Directly thereafter, Dr. Nelson will be discussing AVID and how it is connected to post-secondary opportunities and transition supports. We are beginning a district-wide initiative through a partnership with AVID that will mean that more students will have access to systems that are designed to prepare them for their post-secondary lives, whether it be the college or career track. We know that the integration of SEL and academics results in positive student outcomes. Through Metro Schools Reimagined, we are designing systems that support teachers, students, and leaders in this integration of hearts and minds. Whatever choices MNPS students make, they are well prepared to face the worlds of tomorrow because of the work that we do today. And with that, I'll transition to Dr. Lomax.
Thank you, Dr. Norris. Good evening, Board Chair Buggs, members of the board, and Dr. Battle. I'm Dr. Jamie Lomax, Executive Director of Student Support Services, serving and supporting the social and emotional learning team and behavior support work that we do in student support services. I also have here with me SEL Director, Ms. Kyla Kringle, and also our Restorative Practices Coordinator, Mr. Anthony Hall. I'm here to share more about the efforts of restorative practice assistants at the secondary level. Because of your continued support and belief that social emotional supports for all MNPS students, we've elevated a restorative approach to cultivating a strong culture in our middle schools and high schools through the implementation of restorative practices, assistants, and peace centers. Similar to the unified reimagined strategy for advocacy coaches and advocacy centers in place of all 72 of our elementary schools to help meet the immediate student needs in the areas of emotional dysregulation and behavior challenges, the restorative practice assistants and peace centers will expand to the secondary level. I must say that during the short tenure of our advocacy centers, we've already seen over 6,000 individual students rendered for dysregulation for social, emotional, as well as behavior needs, and over 1,800 preventative supports rendered for ranging from class-wide mindfulness, small group lessons, and individual student check-ins. In fact, transforming the culture and the climate in those elementary schools, and definitely wanting to expand on that implementation, again, with our middle and high schools with peace centers. So let's take a look at what is actually restorative practices, just to ground the work. Restorative practices for us is a social science, but here in MNPS, we have definitely created it to make sure that we are using it to strengthen our relationships. Restorative practices' primary function is to strengthen relationships and to provide those structures and skills and tools to repair harm after an appropriate discipline response has been rendered, but also to proactively work to prevent potential harm. Giving students a chance to engage in a participatory learning and decision-making is vital to increasing independence and self-advocacy skills. The primary functions of restorative practices are to provide and model a three-tiered approach rooted in prevention, intervention and support, and reentry to administrators, teachers, and support staff. Also including training, but not limited to, strategies on how to facilitate effective conferencing using restorative circles, as well as classroom management, parent engagement, mentoring, implicit bias and transition services. MNPS focused outcomes clearly articulates the need for our students to be socially and emotionally prepared, as well as academically. The MNPS Restorative Practices Framework conceptualizes the integration of restorative practices and our SEL 5 competencies, while providing those specific supports that aid in increasing student academics, attendance, and successful transitions. Our Restorative Practices Framework is also grounded in our MNPS core tenets, providing the structure to the support that our core tenets are embedded in. Parents and teachers play a vital role in the restorative process, providing the platform for us to support our schools through collaborative partnerships as a support hub. Ensuring students have successful transitions is ensuring all students have personalized supports and achieving success at every tier. Providing opportunities for students to be heard and self-advocate removes barriers to provide equitable experiences for all students. Mentoring, as a key strategy of restorative practices, allows all school staff to tap into their skill set in order to equip and empower all leaders at all levels. We'll take a look at restorative practice assistants, and these are the individuals that carry the restorative practices philosophy and implementation of it. So in order for us, again, to move forward with our restorative practices and expand peace centers, we have looked at, again, the schools that we have restorative practice assistants in. That's 11 middle schools currently, 10 high schools, giving us a total of 21 restorative practice assistants. We are looking to expand to 38, which will again give all of our high schools and middle school a restorative practice assistant, bringing us to a total of 59 total restorative practice assistants. When we look at the work of restorative practice assistants, we want to definitely highlight, initially, we always want to start with what is proactive. The role is for them to be 80% preventive and, again, 20% restorative. We're also making sure that our restorative practice assistants provide the ongoing support and implementation of restorative practices throughout the school's culture. They will also be vital in coordinating that assistance to our families to ensure that we are providing practices to improve students' learning experiences and also impacting school behavior data. They will also be very vital in coordinating the efforts and supports for our students to re-enter when returning from discipline and expulsions. Also serving as the head of facilitating restorative circles and conferences for students, families, and staff to repair harm when needed. And designing supports and interventions in the peace centers. How will we support our restorative practice assistants to ensure that they have everything they need in order to be successful? We have outlined, not limiting to, certain focus areas. We've listed them here, and they are also part of our ongoing professional coaching and biweekly meetings that we will have with our restorative practice assistants, and also giving them an opportunity to be able to network and analyze data together. So let's take a look again at what happens in the peace centers. Peace centers, they are integral to the positive behavior supports, and they provide those structures and systems that students will need in order to be able to have those successful transitions and also reintegrate back into our schools. They also hold students accountable and provide those resources for students to be able to hold themselves accountable, while also utilizing SEL and academic tools. Our Peace Centers will serve as that stationary physical space for students to have a safe space to do this. The staff in our Peace Centers will be able to utilize resources that we have, again, integrating SEL and academics in order to, number one, assist them with those intervention strategies, or prevention strategies and intervention strategies, in order to make sure they're better equipped to self-manage themselves. So what exactly happens in a Peace Center? The Peace Center will provide 4 types of support, which falls in line with the model that I described earlier, the 3-tier model. So giving students an opportunity to de-escalate, providing that regulation activity, whether that is, again, preventive or also post, then giving them the opportunity to also be able to look at their actions and then come up with plans and supports in order to repair harm when needed. The opportunity to connect and reflect with a caring adult and have that supportive dialogue. And of course, the goal to always have that successful reentry back into the classroom. Here we have listed the investments needed for ongoing support for implementation of Peace Centers. I would like to, again, just highlight the staffing needs. As you could see, restorative practice assistants, as I referenced earlier, are key and vital to the implementation of what happens in the Peace Center. So what we do know is that we do have anticipated outcomes, but we also will take a minute to look at some of the proven outcomes that we have from schools that actually already have an RPA. So with our anticipated outcomes, again, aligning to our own focus outcomes, we know that we want students to continue and to be able to develop that increasing independence, and that is established through them learning how to advocate for themselves and developing those effective leadership skills. We also know that students will become more personal as far as their maturity level, and also emphasizing their accountability for actions. We also want students to be able to have successful transitions, including being able to denote academic and SEL goals as part of their transitional plan. And also, last but not least, increasing our students' understanding of community, including that personal and that social responsibility that it takes to be a part of the civil society. In fact, again, making sure all of our students know that they are known. So what we know about schools that have an RPA so far, if you look at the data, we actually have seen a decrease in behavior incidents with schools who have had restorative practice assistants for the last 5 years. As I come to a close, just really wanting to take a look again at our framework and understanding the expansion of RPAs and Peace Centers will allow us to continue to provide the high level of support to ensure that every student is known. I want to thank you in advance for your continued support, and I will now pass it to Dr. Matt Nelson, who will speak to you about the AVID system, a system that serves as a bridge to the integration of academics and SEL.
Thank you, Dr. Lomax. Chair Buggs, school board members, Dr. Battle, community members, staff. I'm so pleased to be here this evening to talk to you about AVID, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. AVID is a system designed to support our district's work, preparing all students for college and career success. Although you may remember earlier references to AVID in some of our previous discussions about advanced academics, I'm pleased to dig in a little bit deeper this evening so that you have more detail about what AVID is in our district and what our plans are for the future. So the next few slides will give you a bit more detail about the AVID College Readiness System. The AVID College and Career Readiness Framework is about making sure every student is on a path to success. That is exactly what our district's mission to make every student known is all about. We want to know every student as a unique individual and do everything we can to help every student meet his or her goals for the future. At the foundation of this pyramid are the 4 core tenets that drive our district's work and keep us focused on what matters most. We insist on rigor, we break down barriers, we align the work, and we advocate for all students. Surrounding the pyramid, you see the 4 AVID domains: instruction, systems, leadership, and culture. These domains are aligned directly to the MNPS core tenets. Instruction connects to creating and supporting personalized learning experiences. Systems connects to transforming the central office to a support hub. Leadership, of course, connects to equipping and empowering leaders. Culture connects to identifying and eliminating inequities. AVID's mission is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for all tiers for college readiness and success in a global society. AVID is a system of student and teacher support. Students learn skills for both academics as well as their social and emotional needs. AVID supports students who may need a helping hand or encouragement so that they can take the very most rigorous courses available to them in middle school and beyond. And AVID helps students become independent, self-regulated thinkers so they can accelerate in their individualized learning path. AVID helps students see what's possible and how they can pursue their goals and achieve their dreams. It provides student supports and targeted strategies for the critical areas of writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. This is referred to as WICOR in AVID lingo. Ultimately, AVID enables students to find their voice and advocate for themselves in terms of setting ambitious academic goals and enrolling in early post-secondary opportunities. All students in middle or high schools can benefit from the AVID system when these things become ingrained into the school community. Some middle and high school students choose to participate in an AVID elective course. This is where they work directly with an AVID teacher and their peers in a classroom setting. Students in the AVID elective take a deep dive into some of the key components of the AVID system and have additional systems of support to ensure they are successful. At the center of that AVID College and Career Readiness Framework triangle, we see student agency. This is what connects all of those SEL competencies that you see listed in that last bullet. AVID is a comprehensive K-12 system, and MNPS currently has some elementary, some middle schools, and some high schools that have implemented AVID. Some schools have had AVID for quite a while, and several schools recently implemented AVID this school year. This evening, we want to focus our attention on AVID in middle schools. We believe that leveraging ESSER dollars to support and expand AVID as a priority in our middle schools will provide those students an equitable and systematic approach to building college and career culture. As you can see, this year we have 6 existing AVID middle schools and 5 middle schools in their first year of implementation. Next year, in addition to those 11, we have 7 more middle schools that will implement AVID, and the remaining 12 middle schools will embark on a year of planning. By the 23-24 school year, all 30 MNPS middle schools will have implemented AVID. Schools are eager to move in this direction. They were given the opportunity to set their own timeline for implementation. Schools were even given the option to not implement, although no school went that route. For our implementing schools, the AVID Summer Institute gives educators a chance to learn more about the AVID system through 3 full days of professional learning. Educators will participate in one of over 30 strands or communities of practice. The learning will be directly connected to each person's role. In addition to the AVID Summer Institute, implementing schools are supported through district and school-based strategies. Each AVID school has an identified AVID site team. This includes the principal, school counselor, the AVID coordinator, and other educators. My office provides regular opportunities for AVID coordinators to collaborate and continue learning. Our goal is for all schools to meet the requirements and expectations that are defined by the AVID Center through the certification process. Schools that exceed expectations in these requirements can ultimately become an AVID Site of Distinction or even an AVID National Demonstration School. AVID is not one more thing for schools to do. Rather, AVID can be the lens through which all things function well in schools. It is a systematic approach to support excellent teaching and learning. It outlines clear and consistent expectations we should set for all students, identifies the best practices and differentiated professional learning for educators, and ensures that there is a clear focus on preparing students for college and career success. When all MNPS middle schools become aligned in this way, we expect to see positive outcomes. This will raise the bar. All of us know that college isn't just for the kids in the most advanced classes. AVID expands our belief that all students can and will be college and career ready. AVID supports the guaranteed, personalized, and applied experiences we want for all students. We want every student at every tier to start thinking in terms of a post-secondary plan and what that might include. AVID Center's college enrollment and persistent report shows us that when viewed nationally, AVID students from all demographic groups are enrolling in four-year institutions at higher rates than their national counterparts. Our MNPS AVID seniors are following suit. Looking at the last 5 years, our AVID seniors have been on pace with or have exceeded these national averages that you see here. And this was in face of the national pandemic and natural disasters that have impacted our local area. AVID Center's report also shows a consistent increase in middle school AVID students who enroll in Integrated Math 1 or other honors courses and high school credit-bearing courses. I'd be pleased to talk more about my perception about why AVID will help the district achieve our goals, but it's important for you to understand the impact AVID has on our students. We've invited 3 AVID students from McGavock High School to speak to you very briefly this evening. I'd like to invite all 3 of them up here to speak for a minute or two about their experience in AVID. Lorena Shaw, Luisa Argueta Villario, and Kendall Derricks are all 11th grade AVID students who started AVID in 6th grade at DuPont Hadley Middle School with Miss Jenny Presson. I will turn it over to the students now, and Miss Lorena Shaw will be our first speaker. Kendall Derricks will be our first speaker.
Good evening, school board. My name is Kendall Derricks. I am in 11th grade, and I have been in AVID since 6th grade. In my experience, I have enjoyed AVID ever since I have had the opportunity to join. I was able to learn many things throughout AVID, and I have also been able to connect with people, including other students and my teachers, a little more easily since then. I have learned many organization and communication skills. During middle school, I would not ask too many questions when I was not able to figure something out, and I would shut down and not ask for help. After staying with AVID, I have been able to communicate more freely with my teachers. After high school, I plan to go to college. In middle school, Miss Preston took her 8th grade AVID class on a college tour trip to Alabama. One of the colleges that stood out to me was the University of Alabama A&M because of their dance and psychology majors. The main colleges I would like to attend are Emory College, University of Florida A&M, University of Alabama A&M, and University of Southern Texas, and many more. I would like to become a neonatal nurse, and if that does not work, I would like to become a psychologist. I concluded these careers because I like helping people, and also I love babies. I have always been surrounded by babies and toddlers since I grew up in my grandparents' family business of the Love Child Care Enrichment Center. Because of AVID, I know I will meet my career goals due to the perseverance I have gained throughout middle and high school years. I want to thank all of my AVID teachers, Mr. Hicks, Ms. Dunkip, and Ms. Preston. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Luisa Argueta, and I'm a student at McGavick High School. I've had the opportunity to be part of the AVID family for 6 years thanks to Ms. Preston, my teacher at DuPont Hadley. Before AVID, I was an ABC student. Coming from a Spanish household, I've had to depend on myself to answer my schoolwork questions. As much as my parents wanted to help, their little to no English did not allow them to understand my critical thinking. Once I was introduced to the AVID world, I had an opportunity to problem solve with my peers in tutorials. My tutorial groups helped me answer the questions that I had. The questions that I couldn't answer at home were answered in my AVID classroom. As my 6th grade year progressed, I was able to achieve honor roll. I applied the skills that AVID advocated their students to follow. I wrote in my agenda and organized my work by class daily. Before I knew it, I was a principal's list student. My middle school years were the foundation that helped me succeed in high school. AVID encouraged me to advance into rigorous classes once I became a freshman. Although ACE, IGSE, and dual enrollment may be challenging, AVID has helped me stay confident and strive into the student that I am today. I would like to thank Ms. Preston, Ms. Dunkip, Ms. Vignon, and Mr. Hicks. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lorena Shaw, and I've been in AVID since 6th grade at DuPont Hadley. I had the opportunity to join AVID in 6th grade, and it has pushed me to become better ever since. One way AVID has really supported me through my middle school and high school transition was that it gave me the opportunity to build relationships with my classmates. We did things like team building activities, helping each other with critical thinking questions, and learning about my choices after high school. Something I have learned throughout my time in AVID is that you will always have to plan ahead. In AVID, we participate in tutorials. These help us work together to problem solve in our other classes. One time I thought I was going to be able to finish my tutorial request form in class, but no, Ms. Preston was taking them up at the door. This helped me because it taught me that you can't always do stuff at the last minute. You have to get a planner and write the stuff that's due that day. After high school, I intend to go to college to be a physical therapist and play basketball, but also get involved in as much stuff as I can, like maybe more leadership programs. This dream started back in middle school. We would look up different colleges we were interested in and actually see what we wanted to do in life. I always wanted to be a physical therapist because I like helping people get better. I'm always in many leadership programs now, thanks to the confidence that was built in my middle school years. And I feel like my goal in life is to be a leader. I know I will meet this goal because I have learned so much with the AVID program. It has helped me become a better reader, writer, and now I can understand things in a better way. It has also helped me build friendships and relationships that I am very thankful for. I also want to thank Mr. Hicks, Ms. Preston, Ms. Dunkip, and Ms. Vignon for helping me become the student I desire to be.
There's more power in that than anything I can say. So thank you, students, for being here this evening. Thank you, and know that we are all here rooting for your success no matter what path you take. I want to recognize Luisa's parents who are also joining us tonight, Ms. Luisa Villario and Mr. Santos Argueta. Thank you for coming. And Ms. Laura Vignon, who is the McGavick High School AVID coordinator and instructional coach. She's been an AVID educator since 2008. I hope you're able to see how AVID supports our district's goals and the influence it can have on our students. The key takeaways on this slide reinforce our shared commitment to what matters most, making sure every student is known and supported on a path towards success after they graduate. As always, on behalf of my colleagues, Dr. Norris, Dr. Lomax, we appreciate the opportunity to share with you and celebrate the strong programs and systems we have in place to support the integration of social and emotional learning and academics. We ask for your continued support through advocacy, funding, and maintaining high expectations so that all MNPS students are supported, challenged, engaged, and able to thrive. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Battle.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson, for the report. A huge thank you to all of our leaders for sharing the information shared tonight under our Metro Schools Reimagined. Always great to hear from our young leaders and to hear their paths and aspirations after they graduate from high school. Always good to see our parents, our teachers, everyone who plays a role in supporting our students. Vice Chair Elrod, I will turn it over to you now.
Thank you. I will start with Ms. Pupa Walker.
Thanks. I have questions about a couple of pieces. First, I want to thank you for the update on TISA. It was very, very helpful. A couple of questions about the restorative practices work. I know this has been building for some time. I'd love to ask just a couple of specific questions. Is youth courts considered part of this model?
Dr. Lomax, would you like to address that question, please?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, youth courts is part of this model. They're part of this model.
How many schools are in youth court? How many schools have
Participating
youth courts?
schools.
Mhm.
So I'm going to defer that question to Mr. Anthony Hall or Dr. Springer for the number.
So as you all know, we have expanded youth court this year, and we are excited to say that we are in all of our zoned high schools and some of our middle schools, at least 2 or 3 of our middle schools. So excited about that, and to hear them speak on it, and just to see the transformation and leadership of students and an alternative to suspensions is absolutely encouraging.
Okay. I want to talk for a minute about the restorative justice assistants that are hired. So I know that that is a job that is can be complex. So what are the sort of background? What are the trades? What are we looking for when we hire these folks? What kind of background do we expect them to have coming in?
Absolutely. We want our restorative practices assistants who join Metro Nashville Public Schools to have a background in some type of social work, working with youth about empowerment, and a background in restorative practices. So that is what we are expecting for those who will join our team.
Okay, I just have a couple more questions about that. So the goal is to grow to 59. So I'm curious what the supervision ratio is of supervisor to these assistants, because that requires a lot of modeling, supervision, coaching. I'm just curious what that, I'm curious as we grow this number, how many of those folks are you growing the support team to help them be successful as well?
Absolutely. Those supervisory supports are included within our contracted services. And so it's part of the package, and they will work closely with our SEL department to ensure alignment with our practices currently, and to provide coaching and professional learning to ensure sustainability and capacity building.
And then my last question about this is, do these assistants work with students returning from ALCs? Who's managing that piece?
Absolutely. One nice thing about this is I wish I know, Dr. Battle, I don't wish I can go back to be a principal today, but if I could, I would. That was my dream job, and I loved it. But imagine having this level of supports across all schools, standardizing this support with restorative practices, advocacy centers, community achieves, we can go on and on. It really sets a school leader up to free them up to lead, and to free your teachers up to teach, because that in-school support is right in-house, on demand, and available to schools.
And having that school-based person who's there for the reentry of students who might be otherwise in an ALC portfolio program.
Absolutely. And so we haven't omitted our alternative learning centers. In fact, when we were thinking about placements, we wanted to make sure that they had restorative practice assistance supports on the front end. So they were some of the first to be allocated to our alternative learning centers, and it is critical to have that one person, as Dr. Battle mentioned, to support our students as they transition from setting to setting so that we can reduce that recidivism rate that we see sometimes in our ALCs.
Bishop, thank you for indulging me. A couple of more questions. But one quick comment, I want to give a shout out to Anthony Hall, longtime friend. He is a hero in this district and has helped countless children in our district. So big applause for Anthony Hall. A couple of questions about AVID. Who are the teachers that teach AVID? Is there a certification required? Is this just a one-off class for a teacher who's got 3 other preps? I'm trying to figure out who the people are that teach that class.
Right, so there's a job description and an AVID teaching position that's available to schools to use if they have the AVID system. So it is a elective course. In middle schools, it usually falls within the related arts rotation. Ideally, the AVID teacher would teach AVID throughout the day, but sometimes they teach another content in addition.
Okay. And how are kids identified for AVID?
So there's AVID has identification criteria that are expected to be used. There is a process through which students apply to. As you saw, AVID is called advancement via individual determination. So it's not about forcing kids into anything or to do something they don't want to do. It's really them stepping forward and saying, I want to make this commitment, and I will go through the process to fill out answer the questions and do the interview, and then that's how they're selected.
And if I can add, we're actually on a journey. The long-term vision here is to be an AVID implementation district so that students, even outside of the AVID elective, have exposure to these opportunities, these skills, particularly the Wicker skills, to help build their knowledge and skills necessary to access advanced placement courses, early post-secondary opportunities, and to strengthen their path to transition once they graduate from high school. So that is the ultimate goal. We're starting this expansion in the middle school space. I know we talked a bit about that at the retreat, and we'll begin to expand up and down to our elementary schools to make sure that eventually it is a structure that every MNPS student benefits from.
Thank you so much.
Go right ahead, Ms. Masters.
I have a few things ranging across the, I'll try not to go too crazy. First, since we were just talking about it, on the restorative practices assistants, I'm wondering, are these to be MNPS employees, or are these going to be contracted through like a larger entity? And what will the compensation be for one of those positions?
Yes, thank you for your question. This will be a contracted services position. We knew that given the expansion that we wanted to do this school year with the 59, it would be fiscally responsible to ensure that that's through contracted services right now. And so compensation will be comparable to our advocacy center coaches.
And we're talking specifically to the expansion. We currently have restorative practice assistants who are MNPS employees, but we're talking specifically to the expansion as a part of leveraging and planning around our ESSER funds, which I know this team is fully aware of. So again, the being fiscally responsible around expanding and getting the services where we need them. This is also why you see them in continuity of federally funded initiatives in our budget, because we want to make sure that we have a plan post-pandemic to continue on with our restorative practice assistance.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. I think that you actually answered my second question as you were answering that question. I want to go back to our COVID case in schools report. And since no action has yet been taken on the motion we passed on February 22nd, I move to amend the motion previously adopted to now read, I move to adopt Dr. Battle's recommendation to move to masks recommended on March 11th with the stipulation that beginning on March 22nd, the board will review the most current CDC COVID-19 county check tool community levels and recommended prevention steps for Davidson County, Tennessee at each scheduled board meeting and have the option of adjusting mask guidelines according to those recommendations.
Mr. Whitaker, would you mind? For those watching, this is Metro Legal, who is reviewing policy to make sure that this is feasible.
It is allowed under Robert's rules because it was a motion upon which there has not yet been any action taken. And I am simply moving to amend that motion previously adopted.
I would think that you could handle this by just taking that up as a point of discussion on the next meeting for the board rather than having to amend anything right now. I'm going to have to, based on what you just told me, I'm going to have to consult something really quick. I'll be right back.
Mrs. Masters, with that in mind, would you mind holding the motion so we can complete discussion? All right, so we haven't moved or had it seconded, so we are appropriately moving that to the end of this discussion. All right, go ahead. Actually, we have Mrs. Tyler, Mrs. Elrod, and then Angeli.
I had a couple questions about our restorative practices. As a previous elementary school teacher, I'm really like restorative practices. I think it works very well, especially at that level. But I have heard from a lot of high school level teachers who are concerned that if the students don't buy into the program, if they don't participate to actually try to have a restorative conference, if they don't want to be part of creating a more equitable or more peaceful situation, that there's not much else that can be done, and it feels like students that don't want to be part of the program kind of ruin it for everybody else, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to ask, what are we doing to support our high school students and our high school teachers where they feel like if our students are not participating in this program appropriately, what's the secondary thing that we can do to support the teachers so that that behavior doesn't spiral?
Dr. Battle?
I'm going to speak from a few different hats, as director of schools, but also as a previous high school principal who implemented restorative practices. And first, I want to just give credit to, because this is a model that we're also adapting from something that's highly effective at the high school level, which is around our teaming process that our teachers do extremely well with in building those positive relationships with our students. It's also important that we're clear about what restorative practices is and what it isn't. Restorative practices does not negate the student-parent handbook we have with students. And in some cases, depending on the severity of the incident, it could be the response. But in some cases, it's paired with the expectations and the accountability we have for student outcomes. And so it's important to think about this. This doesn't mean that there's no expectations and accountability for students. It actually forces us as adults to engage and connect with students in a way to better understand what is happening, what's going on, and how we can re-engage them in their learning community. And so that's what that effort is about. It also really echoes the high school model of the effective teaming, because this is what high school teachers have done for 15 years now with our Academies of Nashville model. And so I'm not sure of any specific examples in that regard. It is, again, with a low severity incident, an opportunity to talk through the situation and restore. And I think those are pretty well managed with regards to that. In other cases, when we've required a student reentry meeting, this just gives us the tools and the protocols to facilitate those meetings, to reengage the student, to repair harm so students can move forward. But it does not negate the enforcement of our student-parent handbook.
I've not heard that it does negate it. I just have heard that the focus on it has led to out-of-control behavior. And I don't know if that's because maybe admin thinks that that should be the only way to do it. I don't know. I just know that I'm being told by high school teachers that discipline, and even some middle school teachers, that discipline has been a real problem. And I know some of that's coming back from the pandemic, not a lot of structure at home. You coming back and you got to kind of fit your way back into, this is the expectation of the classroom, and it might be very different from what your expectation is at home or in your community. And so I have some concerns about some behavioral issues at school. I do not think that we should stop that. I don't think that I think it is great program. I don't want to denigrate it. But I also want to make sure that when it's not doing everything it needs to be doing, that we're still supporting our teachers and making sure that they're able to actually do their job of teaching instead of spending all the time disciplining a student and then having to start all over again with the same lesson the next class because one student went off rails for everybody. And I mean, I would, if you feel comfortable talking about it, I don't want to put either of you on the spot, but I don't know if you have seen anything in your schools as high school students where restorative practices has been especially helpful, or where you feel like maybe there has been we are coming back from a unstructured time and that has played out in the classroom in a way that is not desirable. But again, don't want to put you on the spot, so you don't have to answer that. But I think student voice is important too. Not just, I'm hearing from teachers that there are some kinks in the system that are not working as well as they should. But I'd like to hear from the students. Are you actually getting to learn? Are you having the ability to have a full class without being interrupted by behavior issues?
Angela, do you feel comfortable answering? Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. I guess this could segue a little of what I was going to say prior. I just wanted to give a shout out to the 3 juniors who spoke from McGavick. I know they just left, but as someone said, student voice is really significant, especially when it comes to restorative practices, because like most things that is implemented by the board or any adult or teacher, students live through it. And just hearing the positives and negatives of anything of that nature is significant and impactful, especially when making decisions such as these. I personally did not get the opportunity to join an AVID class, but I know a lot of the underclassmen at my school have had the opportunity to. My brother actually did it his freshman year, so this was during the pandemic, and it was primarily online. As for just misbehaving, I don't necessarily think that there's a connection between restorative practices being put in place and that being the problem or issue. I think it does have to do with students just readjusting to coming back and being in a big room with students in person. I know in some of my AP classes, similar students who didn't get an opportunity to take AVID, there are some struggles with just staying focused or maybe being well behaved, and that's coming from maybe senior AP classes. So I feel like it's not necessarily just on AVID or particular classes. Like, I think it's scattered throughout the board, no matter if it's standard, AVID, AP classes. I think all students are kind of struggling right now. In terms of behavior and just staying focused and trying to learn.
Thank you. Mrs. Tyler?
Okay, well then I guess my next question is, I think then clearly we need to continue to use this, but also what else can we do? Because this is, and I hate this word, but it's unprecedented. We are coming back from a time where students have been away from school for so long, and that has never happened in our generation and our parents' generation. That's just not been something we've had to deal with before. There is no roadmap for how to do this successfully. So what can we do to support our teachers and our other students who are trying to learn when there is a discipline issue? And I would love to find out, how can we better support them?
All right. You want to move to Mrs. Masters, or to Mrs. Elrod, or were you, okay. Mrs. Elrod, then Angeli, and then Dr. Gentry.
Thank you. So in response to the restorative practice assistants and the expansion for 2022, 2023, is that dependent on the funding of the $3.4 million, or is that going to happen no matter if we receive that funding or not in our continuation of services?
Dr. Battle?
Thank you, Dr. Springer.
Thank you. So for this upcoming school year, there have been funds allocated through our ESSER allocations and relief funds that will be able to ensure implementation for this school year. After that, we always are thinking ahead and looking at sustainability, and that is what Dr. Battle presented today in her budget presentation.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And, of course, excuse me, all my allergies. Let's see. We have, I'm so sorry, I'm having to scoot through all my little notes. With AVID, we, where's that question? There's a long list of proven outcomes that are listed here. Are we following these currently? It sounds like that we are, because I think there was a mention of the last 5 years, our seniors were at the same national outcome. Are we currently monitoring these, and will we continue to do so, or are there specific data points we're going to be monitoring to prove its effectiveness if we implement this?
Dr. Nelson.
Sure. AVID, the AVID system has a robust data collection system that is used, and so we have modeled the data that AVID collects in our data warehouse so that we can track it internally, but then also turn it over to our schools so that they can meet that requirement by submitting the data to the AVID center. So we do track all of that data internally, and then it is reported to AVID so that it's reported to their national reporting as well.
Okay. Thank you. And then we had so much great information shared. So the information about the new TISA funding was very helpful. I really appreciated slide 8. Nope. I mean, that's a good slide too. Whoever made that, I don't want to dismiss your work. Slide 6. I think that is very telling, and of course, I like graphs. So I appreciate that. This is alarming information, not only because of just the decrease of per pupil funding, but also just the lack of transparency on what are considered unique needs and the ED scores and all those other things. Besides us as a board and our teams that we have as leadership, and of course whatever lobbying support that we currently have, what other partnerships or community needs do we have to help advocate and educate legislators about the inequities seen here?
Dr. Battle?
So what other partnerships are we leveraging?
Yes.
So you can come on up, Sean. I'll just say on the front end of this response, we just got this a week ago.
Yep.
We have all day, all evening, all weekend been trying to dig in and get the details of this, and the details have not all been there.
Right.
And so that's been kind of our first outreach, is can we get additional information to help us put into context what this means for MNPS. But I'll also let Sean share some of the other.
Yeah, just, I mean, so this is not just a Metro Schools issue, this is a Metro government issue. So we've been working closely with their lobbying government relations team to try to make sure that they have the information they need to go to talk to legislators. We've been working with CLAS. TOS has put out some lists of suggestions, some of which align to ours related to this legislation, and then just talking to the media and then putting out the information wherever we can so that people understand exactly the impact of this, specifically on Nashville, but broader to that. So it's just a continual effort to talk about it, and you know, I'm sure we'll get plenty of questions after tonight too.
I'm sure we will. I appreciate the amount of work that went into explaining this to our general public and to us as a board, and keeping us updated on this information, as I know we've received several emails as well. I think it's important that we also keep in mind that this has been really hard for leadership, whether board or within MNPS, as mentioned, to keep us up to date, as that information has been kept quite confidential and not easily shared among different districts. And so there's been a lot of information not shared with us. And so I know it's hard for us to have that react and to have a reactionary response. I know that we have had a lot of discussion recently with different advocates within our communities, and I would strongly encourage them to be advised of this information and know how it affects their students, whether they are a student that would be considered economically disadvantaged or have a unique learning need. It will still affect their student, as of course the entire per pupil amount is decreasing, and it will have long generational effects for us. I also would like to just say, while I have the board floor, that there are community partnerships that like to claim that they're partners, yet sometimes their actions are different than they should be, like today with the chamber. And they need to instead focus on supporting us and providing additional supports, services, and additional funding.
That's right.
We need not critical friends, but partners. Thank you.
And really quickly, for anyone that may feel lost on what we're referring to as TISA, that's the Tennessee Investment in School Achievement. That is state-level legislation. Feel free to Google TISA. It talks about the state-level funding that our students will receive in comparison to what they have received in the past.
The modification to the BEP.
And actually, this goes to you, Dr. Gentry. I'm sorry, Angela, did you have? Go ahead, Dr. Gentry.
So I just want to revisit the comment about restorative practices and schools still having discipline problems. This has nothing to do with COVID, guys. If you all remember, when we changed the codes so that we weren't suspending elementary school kids, principals had the same concerns. That I got a kid I don't know what to do with. I mean, I had principals in my district like, I don't care what you all do, that kid got to go. So it's not about that. And so I just want us to be very careful that if we have, and I'm going to say one-offs, I'm not trying to minimize the magnitude of any emails you may have gotten, but we've got a standardized practice, and we can't keep, and I don't know how to figure this out or how to say this and not sound insensitive, but to charge the system now with, how do I figure out for this principal who can't control their kids, even though I have invested significant funds and resources into a nationally recognized restorative practices process. So I don't know what the answer is, Ms. Tyler. I don't think it's not restorative practices. I think it's maybe helping principals understand better how to leverage those resources, helping principals understand, and we've talked about this for years, that our whole classroom management vibe in the district is on a steady decline. So I don't know what's happening with our teacher prep programs, but we don't have the teachers that you remember, the teachers I remember, the teachers my daughters remember, in their ability to manage classrooms and set that level of expectations. I'm not saying we don't have kids that don't have behavior challenges and have home life circumstances that make it difficult for them to conform, right? We talk about African-American male students who we're still asking to sit in rows and be still. Anybody who ever raised a boy, I don't have none, but I give all of y'all, when I just see parents with their sons, I'm just like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And they're not even in a classroom. They're doing, it's a lot. It's a lot. So snatch them up, yeah. So I would just, and I get the concern. I just want to make sure that we don't start at, and we start at, let's be clear on what we have. Are we leveraging what we have appropriately? Because the and comes back to us with, you're giving us something else to have to use and do. So I would ask that it's more, let's revisit and making sure we're socializing. Is it a resource issue? Is it that we're not completely, I know we were talking about additional funding and sustaining the funding that we have. Maybe that's where it is. I just want us to be cautious that we don't take the one-offs or the 10-offs in a district this size. 100 is a one-off, right? We don't take the one-offs and let that lead us to a whole new strategy, an additional strategy and plan.
And if I can just add to that, because the effort here is to standardize having the support in schools across the district. And this is a grand opportunity for us to have the on-the-ground support. Being a previous teacher myself, being able to connect students immediately to resources, support someone to help re-engage them back in the classroom is a grand opportunity. But we've not got to the standardization yet, which this effort helps push us towards.
All right, thank you. So it looks like Mrs. Tyler, Mrs. Masters, then Mrs. Bush.
And I want to make it clear that I support restorative justice. That is not what I was saying, and I think you get that. So definitely, I think maybe more training on the student handbook and steps in the handbook for how to handle behavior issues needs to happen across the district. Because the student handbook is more than just restorative justice, because we need to have all the tools available to us. So let's make sure that we have the system that we have, like Dr. Gentry was saying, and we use it. And in order to use it, we have to know what it is, and we have to be well-trained in it. So that's a suggestion.
Sure. Thank you, Mrs. Tyler. Mrs. Masters?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I guess it's a question and a thought, I don't know, about engaging principals in a really meaningful way. Like, I'm sure principals have been involved with, like, the decision-making around this and moving forward with it, but, I'm also just thinking about how different each school is and each school culture is across the district. And so I'm thinking, has there been an effort to really meaningfully engage not just a sampling of principals, but every principal with sort of the practices around this?
Absolutely. I mean, this is ongoing. They're professional educators, and they understand this work. And so I just want to note that despite our ability to invest to scale across the district with restorative practice assistants until now, we've had a number of leaders and school communities invest in restorative practice assistants. So despite waiting on our investment, they've made the informed decision that this is a support that they need. And as we're looking to scale up, we're very intentional and strategic about where those supports go, and in some cases, how we can have multiple supports on the school level based upon the needs, based upon the size of the school, so on and so forth. And so I think it's a testament that our school teams have invested in this space despite our ability to take to scale a resource that we know has proven to be impactful to our students.
All right, Mrs. Bush.
Yes, I just want to make a comment. So I'm one of those boy moms. I got 5 of them, 5 boys. And a program like AVID, my sons participated in, and they went off to college. But what I don't want us to do is put our African-American boys in a box, okay? No, you're not doing that. What I see with our boys is that we need to come up with more programs. We need to come up with more interest. We need to come up with things that they love and like, right? We have to kind of meet them where they are, too. And it's just not for African-American boys, but we do see a high prevalence of our boys that needs more support. So what did my boys do? I was involved, right, as parents, right? Some of our students may not get that support, but let me tell you what happens with support. When they come into the schoolhouse is when they can get that support. When they go home, they can't help it. So what we have to do is we have to take a deep dive in and figure out how we're going to continue to do things at school, on school levels, after school programs, things like that can really kind of keep our students more engaged. Yes, during this pandemic, it was hard. Transitioning back into the school was hard, but we have to figure out how we're going to meet them where they are and figure out how we're going to continue to invest. I'm not sure it's with the ESSER funds and things like that, but what we have to figure out to do is how we're going to figure out what's going to happen in the school. And if we can do that, that's where you change things, because I was there. So my aspirations, what happened at home, when I came into the schoolhouse, it was different. And so I had a lot more opportunities, a lot more support, and became very, very successful. So that's how we start to engage our students, is that we have to find the money. We have to make sure that we are invested inside the schools. AVID is a wonderful program. My question is, I know we have it, it's going towards more into the middle schools. How many high schools do we have AVID? I know we have it over at Hillsborough.
We have several high schools. Dr. Nelson, do you have that exact number?
We have 9 currently.
9. And how are we expanding in the high school level? I know we do in the middle school. Are we still expanding through to the high school
That would be
levels?
the ultimate goal. Oh, Dr. Battle?
No, you're right on track. That's the ultimate goal, and we're looking, as I mentioned, to start in our middle schools. We've been having lots of conversations about our transformational models in our middle schools, and because we have some strong structures in place at many of our high schools, we're going to start with middle school and then grow up through high school and also expand our reach into elementary. So we have several elementary schools that are coming on this year as well. The schools are fired up about their AVID implementation, and so we have some, despite our attempt to pilot this into our middle schools, who are raising their hand and saying, we want to go ahead and join this year as well, and we're trying to support as many schools as possible, but we also are trying to be efficient, effective, making sure it's manageable, and our district supports as we onboard our school sites to the AVID structure.
And I'm really impressed about the elementary level. I'm so excited about elementary because it starts at that level, right? It starts early. So I was really excited to hear that it's trickling back into elementary, of course, middle, and then, of course, high. But we have to be more intentional about making sure that we capture those young ones, because I'm all about college and career ready, ACT, all the way. And we have to continue to still do more, and I'm going to just keep, kind of piggyback of talking about making sure we can put more programs into schools that's going to directly impact those students that are having the issues with restorative practice, that we can add those different programs, because it's a lot. And I agree with you that we are starting to hear a lot more of an uptick when it comes to behavior. So we're just trying to do whatever we can to support our teachers and what they're going through on a daily basis, because it is a lot. It is a lot. And I've heard it too. So, but I do want to make sure that I'm clear that we need to still do more in our schools to make sure that we can have more programs that can actually directly impact the restorative practices and things like that, because that's where it works. That's how it works. So just wanted to make that comment. AVID's doing a great job. My boys have done great, and they didn't have no other choice because they have a mama who's a little bit crazy. So, but they didn't have a choice. But programs like that help them. Programs like AVID, they went to college because you guys provided something that helped them. And I was really impressed with the program and very, very excited about it going to the elementary level also. So good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bush. Mrs. Tyler, and then we'll move on to Mr. Whitaker in the motion.
Okay, just a couple questions about AVID in general. So I understand that it is an opt-in elective, not everybody takes it. If we're expanding it to all of the schools, will it be, continue to be an elective where people are not required to take it, but that the students who want to take it are the ones who get to do it?
Dr. Battle?
Yes, Dr. Nelson, thank you.
Yes, that's correct. So the AVID system is such that students express that determination and make the commitment, and that's what we want to see continue. That's part of the certification process, so we wouldn't stray from that.
And the basic principles are, from what I understand, kind of so helping them organize and figure out how to keep themselves on track. Is that correct? Is it kind of more of a study skills kind of, I'm figuring out how to be my best self by not forgetting things and making sure that I'm on track? And is that a accurate way to do it, or is that not? I don't.
You go ahead, and I can help with it.
That's certainly part of it. So WICOR is foundational organization, which you reference is part of WICOR, but it's also the writing to learn, reading to learn, inquiry-based, asking the right questions. All of that is part of the AVID student experience. It's as much about building those skills that students need so that they can be successful as about the culture that's created in that group of students with their teachers. That spills out beyond the AVID classroom, as Dr. Battle mentioned, and we would love to see all AVID schools really capitalize on AVID school-wide, which is where all students can benefit, but some students participate in that AVID elective.
And did you want to add?
No, great job.
And then I guess if we, what was I going to ask about it? If we are looking at it just, a lot of the things that you're listing sound like things that classroom teachers do anyway. A lot of them, most of them that are really, really great do it all the time. So are MNPS teachers AVID teachers?
Yes.
And so we They are MNPS teachers that are then trained on the program and implement it. Is that?
And it's not a program, it's a system by which you use it's your lens on strengthening the 4 domains that we've talked about: instruction, culture, leadership, and instruction. But yes, the teachers who are trained will be our very own AVID trained teachers.
I want to make sure we're not outsourcing anything else. And then I guess just the last comment I have to say about it is I mean, if it's a program that is working and students feel like they are making gains and we're seeing the numbers, bear that out, then clearly that is something we need to celebrate and we need to continue on. I also just want to put in a plug for if we are hiring more teachers and have smaller class sizes, these same things will be able to happen more readily. So always at the front of our minds.
Thank you, Mrs. Tyler. And I will say, I tutored in an AVID class at Maplewood my first year on the school board, and I definitely misunderstood what AVID was, but seeing them, it was the same class size as the other class sizes, but it was like a separate period of time where these students could, as a cohort, work with each other to develop some of the soft skills that maybe they just hadn't had a chance to develop yet that helped to support them be even more successful. So yes, I saw the usage of just different tools around organization, around writing, around thought processes, critical thinking, and then they had peers that were trained in the same processes so that it was interesting to see them work across content areas during one period of time every other day. And I think it's just interesting to hear them describe themselves through the AVID lens, because I asked one student what made AVID different from anything else. He said, well, I was never a kid that thought I could be in an AP class, but now I'm going to apply to be in an AP class. And I was like, oh. So no one told you that you were smart. You realized you were smart, got into AVID, and it supported your growth. So it's just another lens to see that through. But to pull on what Mrs. Bush said, I think this is a great call to the community that, continue to support our students in the school building. I say all the time, I graduated from MLK and I earned a physics degree, partly because, yes, I had the introduction at MLK, but there were so many community organizations, so many summer camps that were free of charge that I was able to attend, engineering camps, STEM camps that supported my growth and development. And we haven't seen that happen as much recently with the shift in funding and away from education nationally at the state level. And so we've got to continue to advocate for that.
I was just going to echo the same thing because, we know all the right phrases and narratives we want around education. If we truly believe all that we're talking about up here, we need your advocacy. We need the community rallying with us around the investments that our state is currently projecting and proposing will go into our systems. You cannot do that without investment. So we can talk about all of these great structures and programs, but the investments have to be there to make sure that we're able to actually maximize them. So come with us on this journey.
And that's a perfect segue because we will now shift into public participation. I am so sorry, I keep moving too quickly. Mr. Whitaker, we have a motion that has been proposed. We want to make sure that we close the loop and understand what is most appropriate here.
Sure, and Ms. McMasters is correct. She can make a motion to amend something that's been previously adopted because no action has been taken on that previous motion. I would suggest to the board that the substance of Ms. McMasters' motion could be accomplished by adding it as a discussion point at the March 22nd meeting. I believe that could be a little more efficient. It would not need a motion, a second, or the discussion, the debate that would be required this evening.
I'm sorry, but I'm just really not comfortable with the attorney commenting on my motion. I mean, that's not something that we normally do. I'm fine with you clarifying Robert's rules, but I put a lot of thought into the motion that I made. I have reasons for that motion. If anyone would like to second the motion, we can move into the discussion portion of it.
I just wanted to make sure that I heard from the attorney to understand what, just if there's anything that we have not considered that we need to make sure we close the loop on. But
I appreciate your opinion on how this could be handled. I have very particular reasons for wanting to bring this motion forward. And in the interest of wanting to follow Robert's Rules of Order, I am attempting to not enter into that discussion portion of my reasoning until I see whether or not there's even a second for the motion.
All right, what we can do, I just want to make sure that it's fine, and it sounds like you have agreed that this is an appropriate motion that we can.
It's an appropriate motion that would require a second, then would be open to debate.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. All right, Mrs. Masters, would you mind restating your motion and then we can open the board floor.
I move to adopt Dr. Battle's recommendation to move to masks recommended on March 11th with the stipulation that beginning on March 22nd, the board will review the most current CDC COVID-19 county check tool community levels and recommended prevention steps for Davidson County, Tennessee at each scheduled board meeting and have the option of adjusting mask guidelines according to those recommendations.
All right, do we have a second on the floor?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We will open for discussion.
If you'd allow me to, may I?
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to point out that when we had this discussion 2 weeks ago, we did not yet have this CDC tool. This is the first time that the CDC has released guidance specific to the county level that specifically mentions masks and whether or not they are deemed an appropriate action for an entire county, and specifically mentions schools, K through 12 schools within that. So I saw this as an opportunity for us to answer to a lot of the feedback we've been getting from parents around what metrics we are using to make the determinations around our COVID-related safety protocols. So my intention with this motion was to make it very clear exactly what guidance we will be following moving forward, and to give us the opportunity to do what Dr. Battle's already been doing, which is look at some metrics as a part of the director's report at every single meeting and adjust as needed. This is my attempt to defer to known experts in this area and then put this issue to bed.
All right, any further questions or discussion?
Yes, I have a couple of simple questions of
And then
clarification.
we'll go Mrs. Elrod.
Hopefully, these will be simple. I'm going to make these very specific questions. Under the original motion, would students be wearing masks on the 21st? So masks would be optional on the 21st.
Yes. Encouraged, but optional.
Correct. With the current proposed amendment, are we suggesting that they wear the masks on the 21st and the 22nd and then revisit?
No,
But we're suggesting that we would revisit on the 22nd, and depending on the numbers, they'd have to put them back on.
Correct. I'm making it a part of the motion that we will review those metrics at every board meeting. The review of those metrics may result in no motion and no action, but I'm building that requirement into it rather than us potentially facing a situation where we notice, oh, crap, that CDC metric is really going up, and then we have to sort of start from scratch again. I'm just building the process into the motion.
Right, because if I understood what I heard at the meeting last time, the comment, I reserve the right to revisit, was an addendum comment, but not a part of the original motion.
The actual wording of the motion as passed was, I move to adopt Dr. Battle's recommendation to move to masks recommended on March 11th.
Then later, it was said.
Correct.
Part of her report,
Yeah.
she said she would be checking the numbers.
And so while we always had the understanding that we could review those metrics, we then, on, I think it was March 3rd, the CDC released this tool. So, just attempting to formalize that process.
All right, Dr. Battle.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to kind of unpack the tool and what's included in that. Ms. Brissett, I'm going to ask you to come up because we've talked about this and done a deep dive into the tool itself, and it's important for us to be mindful of what's in the tool and the measures we've used and not used in the past to inform these decisions.
Well, and I will say that, I would be open to adjusting the amendment to the motion. My attempt here is to bake in a very
Consistent review.
distinct and consistent process that's metrics-based.
So the CDC recommendations are based on sort of two factors. One is your number of cases per 100,000 residents and the number of hospital admissions per 100,000 residents. The challenge with that second metric is that Davidson County receives a lot of patients from outside of Davidson County. And so those numbers are not necessarily reflective of our Davidson County population, but rather the hospital counts within that. So we reached out to the health department to try to understand what the metrics were like a week and a half ago, and that was the issue that they raised, is that they cannot unpack right now the out-of-county residents that are coming into our hospitals. And just another point, just so we know, the hospitalization was never a metric we used as a, whether it came to reopening or whether it came to mass, it was always related to things like the positivity rate or the number of new cases, et cetera, transmission rate. So just something to be thinking about as you're voting on this motion is that those numbers may not be reflective of the community transmission in Davidson County.
I wasn't.
Mrs. Elrod? Oh,
Sorry.
But Mrs. Masters after Mrs. Elrod.
To that point, currently, according to that map, we would be red and not supposed to, well, not now.
We're medium.
We're now medium.
We'd still be mass recommended.
But when we originally made that decision and then it was notified later in that week, it was red
But
at
we
that
moved,
time.
yeah,
And then
we
have
moved
since
to
moved.
medium, yeah.
Yes, but we had known that that was coming. I want to make sure I understand kind of, is your motion stating that we would have to change our decision based upon that, or that it's only up for consideration?
Yeah, really, I'm just attempting to offer, again, to bake into the motion itself, that review process. And I will say, to the thing about the CDC, clearly no metric is perfect, and no matter what metric we choose to use, we're going to get pushback on that. And I want to be clear that my desire in amending this motion is about us just choosing a metric. Choosing a metric that the public can understand is what we are looking at and what we're basing our decisions upon. We're never going to get complete agreement on that. But I think for us to continue coming to the board floor every 2 weeks and sort of putting out a lot of, anecdotal information or attempting to extract from the many communications we get from families what their desire is, or, trying on our own to figure out, well, the CDC says this, but our school-based cases are that. I mean, the reality is there's not a public health official here in Nashville who has raised their hand and said, I'll be the one, MNPS, and I'll tell you exactly what you should do. So we're making those decisions ourselves, and I am attempting to attach that decision-making process moving forward, because this is endemic. This is something we will be living with forever. And I am attempting to attach a specific metric to that.
Okay, we got Mrs. Tyler, and then Mrs. Elrod, and then Mrs. Bush.
Lord of mercy.
I like having a metric that we can look to.
Mrs. Tyler, can you pull your microphone?
I said I like having the idea of a metric that we can look at and use to help guide us, but I don't want to tie ourselves to it for a lot of reasons, the least of which is that some of it has nothing to do with the actual community spread. Is there a way we could, Ms. Masters, include school positivity rate as well? And then, because you already are giving us that information, we're already looking at it, we're seeing it go down across the board. And the concern is, what is the spread in our schools? That is the concern. That's what we need to be looking at. I also think, in the past, we've seen that schools mirror community spread. And then, so I think it's important to have both. But I don't want to tie ourselves just to CDC. I think that it's a good tool to use. I don't have any problem including it in our thought processes moving forward. I just think that we should also, bring it back home and make it very specific to MNPS as well, which is what Dr. Battle has already been doing. But if there's a way we could include the CDC data as well as what we're seeing in our schools. And then I think it's also important to note that Ms. Masters says that the option is there. She is not requiring us to discuss this every time we have a board meeting. She's not requiring us to make a new motion and vote on it at every board meeting. None of us want that. So I think this is just being responsive to, if we are able to add into that school data, this would be responsive to what's happening in our schools and what's happening in our community, and that's important to me. And I think it's important to other people who truly care about what the science is saying and showing us.
All right, Mrs. Elrod, then Mrs. Bush, and then Ebenezer.
Currently, with the motion as it is there anything in our way of already, are we already allowed to make adjustments on that decision?
Yes.
Yes. And are we also going to still be following the metrics that are available to us that we have been following as they have been available to us?
So we as a board, I was going to say, we as a board, follow, we can make the motion at any point to make masks optional, to mandate them. Dr. Battle does recommend she does make recommendations at each board meeting, or at the very least shows us metrics.
Yes, I was just going to say, if the question is, will we continue to update the board? Yes, we'll continue to make that a part of the update provided every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And of course, the board reserves the right at any point in time to make a motion to change course.
All right, so there's already a plan in place to continue to monitor the metrics that we have been following as they've been available to us, though understandably at times those metrics have changed. And we're still going to receive those updates every 2 weeks as a board in the director's report as we currently are.
That's correct.
Okay. I am a fan for transparent metrics, as I was exceptionally vocal last year about us having transparent metrics. However, it required of our team and the health department to work together to create a whole new metric because it had such a moving point to it. My concern is, like Ms. Tyler, that if we single out one individual metric like the CDC, it is not a clear or full picture, and that is why we currently have so many different metrics. Though I understand it's frustrating to people, and we have had to try to explain that for 2 years, I do believe that's probably still the best practice, as it is an evolving and ongoing issue that we're going to have to face maybe always. So I do think that it is a concern. My concern is that if we're only focusing on the CDC recommendations instead of these additional Metro Health recommendations that we've had to do in the past and other things, that it will cause more concern or problematic. And it also feels like we're trying to legislate something that we're already doing if we're already getting we're already getting this feedback and we're able to make those changes as needed.
And I just want to clarify, as long as we legally have the ability to mandate masks, because
Yes,
that
thank you.
could shift at any point in time.
Okay.
I would,
Mrs. Bush, and then Ebenezer, and then Mrs. Masters.
Okay, I'm really shocked. I thought we kind of tackled this last board meeting. I really thought we were done with this. I thought Dr. Battle had already made her recommendation. I think we adopted it. I think we voted on it the last board meeting. And for some reason, we're back again. So here we go. CDC. I don't know how many times they have publicly, nationally said that they haven't gotten it right, okay? That they've made errors. They have frustrated the American people because things keep going back and forth, okay?
Just do.
And that's what they do, right?
That's what scientists do.
Yeah, and,
All right,
and,
let's maintain
and so
order for
what
the board.
happens is, I think the most exciting part of listening to Dr. Schaffner a couple of days ago, and he said, we're gonna have to end pandemic, and we have to live through it, and we have to adjust, because we have to move forward. In our country, every day a state is dropping their mask mandate. Every day. No, I know. I just want to kind of come back with some points, because we have to be really, really careful at this point. We have put it out in the atmosphere what our plans are. Parents have expectations of what the plans are. Our students have an expectations of what the plans are going to be. Our teachers, everybody knows what the plan is going to be. So we haven't changed anything, or we haven't shifted. If there's something that's going to be heightened back up, then that's something that we'll look at that time. Right now, people are fatigued. we have to move forward so that we cannot keep having these kind of distractions, and we have to put learning first. We have to put that back on the table because this is becoming a total distraction. We need to stay focused. Our students count on us to do that. We have so much learning loss right now. We have so many kids that can't read and write, and we keep focusing on a mask. We got to stop it, and this is becoming an embarrassment. This is becoming, it's just too much, and we have to stay focused. We have a plan. We have a plan. So we need to just stop kind of unraveling things that we really need to focus more on our student learning. That's what we have to focus on. I am completely concerned about the amount of learning loss that our students are faced with. I am completely concerned about the amount of lack of support that our students are not getting. We got to focus. We have to steer back into the right direction, and we have to be able to adjust. We can't do this all the time, guys. We just can't do it. We have a plan, and we need to stick to it. And all of this keep going back and forth. It's just frustrating for the parents. When are we going to start having their support again? When? When are they going to start really trusting us again to allow them to be parents, allow them to have the conversation with their doctors, allow those conversations to happen without the board always trying to interfere? Can't do it. We have to stop it. We have to. If the numbers go back up, we address them. We've already talked about it. We did it last time. We did it. So now let's get to the point that numbers are way down, and I'm sure they're going to continue to go down. Right? So we want to make sure that our kids, as they transitioning, again, this should be a family decision. We got it optional, okay? They're coming up. Let them come back with some sense of normalcy so there's no more distractions with this. We got to move forward. And I am so tired of this because we're not staying focused. And this right here, it should be your option. And that's what I want us to understand because and that's the reason why they keep doing this to us. The legislatures keep doing this because they're watching us down here do this and not stay focused. And it is a law. It's a law. It's already a law. But what's going to happen is that they're going to continue to have those sessions. And it's true. They're going to keep having the sessions, and they're going to keep adjusting according to what they see down here on the local level. That's the reason why we have to stay focused on education. This right here shouldn't even be a part of that anymore. We're moving forward. And that's what we should be focused on. I'm going to tell you, keep it up. We keep this up. We need to stay focused and stay on our priorities, and that is educating our students and supporting our teachers so that they can do the job that they need to do, and that is to teach and not to be flip-flopping back and forth with this mask. Thank you.
May I respond to that since that was directed
and then
so
Mrs.
clearly at
Masters.
me?
Go right ahead, Ebenezer.
Thank you. So there are a lot of points that were made I think I would like to respond to, but the first one that stood out to me was that, sure, we've been talking about masks for a while, but I'm not tired of talking about them because it's about safety. I know Angela isn't tired of talking about masks either. What I do know is that students are tired of feeling like they're unsafe, and the best way to alleviate that feeling of unsafety is by legislating this idea that we'll be revisiting data to make sure that the decisions that you guys make is going to be the best one for them. And although that it's obvious that Dr. Battle will give us her data every 2 weeks in her director's report, it's still good for the students to see that there's something in the books that show that we will be keeping up with the data for them, no matter how redundant it sounds. And also to the fact that there's some talks about us not focusing on learning enough and how we keep flip-flopping back to masks. Well, in order to transition to that era of learning, we have to make sure that we have the safety part, put down. And safety is reliant on us making decisions that are based on good data, and that good data is something that's available to us now because of this tool that we received from the CDC. So I urge all board members to look at the morality of students, to think about how students are going to feel much safer now because they know you're making decisions based on tools and based on data that's given to us by experts. Thank you.
Mrs. Masters, and then Dr. Gentry.
I just want to point out that I am doing exactly what we are charged with doing. I'm responding to my constituents. Many of whom have told me they are not comfortable coming to our public comment nights because they are still masking in their family, and they are aware that there are people here not masking. One of them says, I have very little faith in the number of families who will send their kids to school with masks if we encourage rather than require them. My child will go to school wearing a mask, but I worry she will be teased and even bullied by her classmates. I am just stating the other side of a lot of what we've been hearing at public comment. I am in no way trying to go back on what we decided 2 weeks ago. As a matter of fact, I'm incredibly relieved that that CDC metric shows us at medium, and I now feel comfortable with us going to masks strongly encouraged. I am simply saying let's add more information about exactly what we're going to do moving forward so that the public understands what metrics we're using and what data we're using to make these decisions. There is nothing in this motion that says we'll immediately change if the metrics change. There's nothing in this motion saying we have to do something brand new every 2 weeks. I'm simply taking a portion of the discussion from 2 weeks ago and adding it into the motion because I felt like that was an important thing to do in the interest of A, transparency, B, stating very clearly for the record what metrics we are using, even if that means this motion needs to be adjusted, and C, responding to the concerns of my constituents in District 3. And they far, those who are deeply concerned about what metrics we're using and about safety measures moving forward, far outweigh the communications I received from my constituents asking that we stop masking in schools.
Thank you, Mrs. Masters. Dr. Gentry?
I have to call the question.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Could you restate it for a vote?
I move to adopt Dr. Battle's recommendation to move to masks recommended on March 11th with the stipulation that beginning on March 22nd, the board will review the most current CDC COVID-19 county check tool community levels and recommended prevention steps for Davidson County, Tennessee at each scheduled board meeting and have the option of adjusting mask guidelines according to those recommendations. And with the permission of the board, I would even amend the amendment to say, in addition to school metrics.
Okay, well, the motion has been, this is, because I had questions, but the question has been called, so we have to vote as it's stated. All in favor, please raise your hand. 2, 4. All right, all opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, Mrs. Masters. We will accept Dr. Battle's recommendation, revisit on the 22nd. Yeah, that's it. All right, thank y'all very much. We will now move on to public participation. The board will hear from those persons who have requested to appear at this board meeting. In the interest of time, speakers are requested to limit remarks to 3 minutes or less. We recently had, this is the appropriate way to address the school board, make your suggestions, or even air your frustrations. We recently had an adult reach out to and harass one of our student board members. That is not appropriate. Please only address adult board members. With that being said, we will begin public participation with Honey Harris, Jennifer Claxton, and Adrian Figueroa.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board, my superintendent, my chair, my board members, and y'all don't have to worry about it. I'm a mama, baby. I'm not going to harass anybody else's baby.
We appreciate it.
But that was a great segue. I love coming down here, get so much information, and especially about these bonuses. It wasn't on my list. I had to handwrite this. When y'all doing these bonuses for these hard-to-staff schools and these retention bonuses, y'all remember I come to work every day. I better be included somehow in these bonuses. We're a team. You make them dollars a team, too. And that takes me to my speech, chronic low pay for support staff. I will say again, I feel that this board has my best interest at heart. And in having my best interest at heart, you have my son's best interest at heart. And he's here, he's hiding, he's asleep. Chronic low pay. 80% of our support staff, represented by my union, SEIU, earn less than $40,000 a year. And y'all know how much it costs to live in Davidson County. 35% of support staff represented by SEIU earn less than $30,000 a year. Teachers received an average raise of $6,900 in 2021, and that was a $50 million investment. And I'm happy for my teachers because I see them struggle. And y'all want to talk about restorative practices? Those are the kids I end up with. Y'all need to take care of me, for real, because y'all need me. The teacher pay was much needed and addressed the long-standing issues. Now I want y'all to address my issues. Long-standing. And I'm still standing. 20-plus years. And it's impacted because of the cost of living. Cost of living's going up. Inflation's going up. My health care is going up. But my pay is not going up the way it should be. There's no reason why support staff should not be honored and revered the same way you honor and revere your teachers. To do it is selfish. To do it is a stab in the back. And to do it is to hurt your children because we have children that we bring to work and we support all children. So if you don't honor us the way you honor the teachers, you just throw that team out the window. Because again, you are not doing what you say you're gonna do. I have to work 2 and 3 jobs. And y'all see I drag my little man everywhere I go. I told you he here. He texted me. It's my time. But I'm just saying a flat raise and show me the same love. Make me the highest paid support staff.
Thank you, Ms. Honey. All right, Jennifer Claxton. Jennifer Claxton. Adrian Figueroa. Kelly Phillips.
Sorry. I couldn't get up. Good evening, Board. My name is Cindy Goddard, and I'm speaking on behalf of Adrienne Battle.
No, let's try that again.
Adrienne, I'm so sorry. I'm not speaking on your behalf. Adrienne Figueroa, I've heard your name so much tonight.
I was like, wow.
Okay,
Y'all
he's got the
been
clock
hanging
going.
out.
One good thing that came out of COVID was that parents became aware what children were learning in school and became more active in their education. After many hours of research, it was discovered that there are inappropriate books in our school libraries. Many of these books contain explicit sexual, obscene, and pornographic material that is not only inappropriate for children, it's also against the law to make it available to children, and yet these books remain in public schools. I'm not making any accusations tonight because you, like many of the parents, possibly are not aware of these books or in our libraries. What I'm asking is that after making you aware, you will earnestly strive to get them out. I brought this book, Looking for Alaska, tonight, and I want to read some excerpts from it. I've just never given one, she answered, her little voice dripping with seductiveness. It was so brazen I thought I would explode. No, I said, I never have. Think it would be fun? Do I? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I think I want to. Laura unbuttoned my pants and pulled my boxers down a little and pulled out my pee. Wow, she said, what? She looked up at me but didn't move, her face nanometers away from my pee. It's weird. What do you mean weird? Just big, I guess. I could live with that kind of weird. And then she wrapped her hand around it and put it in her mouth. She lay there, stock still with my pee in her mouth. And I sat there waiting. And then she took it out of her mouth and looked at me quizzically. Should I do something? I don't know, I said. Everything I'd learned from watching porn with Alaska suddenly exited my brain. That was nice. I don't know if there's something else. I mean, you didn't. Maybe we should ask Alaska. She walked into the bathroom, returned with a tube of Crest toothpaste. Laura and I went back to her room where I did exactly what Alaska told her to do, and I did exactly what Alaska said I would do, which was die 100 ecstatic deaths. My fists clenched, my body shaking. It was my first O with the girl, and it goes on. I'm here not only asking you to remove this book and other obscene books like it, but to request that we find a way to stop these books from getting into schools in the first place. This obscenity has no place in an educational setting. I'm asking that each of you who were elected to ask in the best interest of the children stand up for them and protect them from this filth. Protect them by finding out what porn and obscenity is available to them in our schools. Then act to remove these books. Please join us in the fight to protect our children.
Thank you.
And thank you, Friend
Kelly
Bush, for your
Phillips.
comments.
Kelly Phillips.
Good evening, board members. I know it's been a long little bit, so I will use my 3 minutes and get out, but thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. My
Could
name
you
is Kelly
stand next to the
Phillips.
mic? Go ahead.
You what?
The mic, speaking to the mic.
Oh, sorry. Is that better? Almost 2 years ago to the day, we were told 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It's been 2 years. Our kids have carried the weight of COVID for 2 years. I assume that most of us, when we leave here, do not live 90% of our lives in these masks. How many of you are here tonight, regardless of what it's about, how many of you here tonight are here because you want your voice heard? How many? Doesn't matter what the issue is, whether we agree or not, you want a voice. I'm addressing who I want to address right now. They can hear me as well. This is my 3 minutes. Thank you. Our kids have been the ones that carried this, the learning loss, the emotional loss. And let's just talk about the adults in the room that want to interrupt people speaking if you represent a teacher's position. Is that what we teach our children in schools now? It's not what I teach my children. Our children deserve a board that listens. Parents deserve a voice. Whether you agree with what I stand for or not, I stand for people having a voice. I stand for people having respect for people having a voice and not being rude when they're trying to speak. Because as people, we deserve respect. Whether you're a parent, a student, a staff member, like Miss Honey, a support staff, listen to us, because we are watching. Parents are watching, and just because my opinion differs from yours does not make mine less valuable, and it doesn't make the parent sitting next to you have a less important opinion. It was the lack of voice that parents and students have had during all of this that made me want to run for school board. I am a candidate in District 4. I represent a group of parents who honestly have been afraid to say anything. Guess what? We're not afraid anymore. There are students getting told that after spring break, when they don't wear a mask, that they won't get help from teachers because they aren't wearing masks. I will speak to y'all individually on that matter.
Thank you. James Claxton. Right. Nicole Bynum. Dave Rosenberg. Councilmember Dave Rosenberg.
Good evening. It's great to see y'all. Thank you for doing what you do. And I know that y'all do it out of passion, but $300 effing every 2 weeks isn't enough.
Change that, Councilman. Let me change it.
Got it. Got you. So I want to talk about a school, but I really just don't even know what I want to say. There are a lot of you on the board and in the audience that I fought alongside on educational matters, and there are people that I've battled against on them, including on the board, but I've never doubted that if a child reached out in need, that every single one of you would be there, or if that a teacher was truly hurting, that every one of you would. I never doubted that every single one of you would be there to reach out. But there's a large number of teachers who are hurting right now. They're scared for their physical safety at this particular school. There's a feeling that they're not being heard and that nobody cares, that the district doesn't care. And I can't tell them that they're wrong, because whether that's the reality or not, that's the perception, because they're not being given the opportunity to speak in a way where they are safe. They're being told that the only way that they can express concern about really serious things, including a really serious assault that happened last week, is to file a formal complaint or to send a text message that identifies them, or even an email from their personal email, which will identify them. And they're afraid of doing that for their jobs. When you have a vindictive principal and a district that doesn't appear to care, to be responsive, then of course they don't want to do that. These folks need to be given the opportunity to speak in a safe and anonymous way about things that are going on, because there are people that are hurting in the schools. They shouldn't be reaching out to me. I love public schools. I love my kids' school. I love the concept of public education, the promise of public education. But I'm not the guy that they should feel like they have to reach out to, because they don't trust the district to do anything to help them. So I'll email you separately just some of the things that have been going on. It's been shared with people in the central office, some of these really serious incidents and really just heart-wrenching quotes from parents and teachers about incidents that they've observed and the situations that they're going under. But I just ask y'all to please step up and help over there and not turn a blind eye anymore. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Councilman Rosenberg. Laura Dietrich. Caroline Hips. Anthony Shelton.
My name is Anthony Shelton. I'm the father of a visually impaired kindergartner in District 3. Last month, I appeared here to ask why my questions about mask policies that were affecting my daughter had not been answered. Finally, that evening, I began to receive responses about my concerns. The responses were far from what I had expected, though. Initially, I was told I had missed emails from the board, which is strange because I do know how to check my email. Then I was asked if my daughter had an IEP, a completely irrelevant question based on our situation. Then the school principal was copied on the email. Again, he knew everything about our situation but was powerless. That's the reason I addressed you guys in the first place. In the days following, what I did was dare to email and ask the board simple questions about how decisions were being made, so then my wife and I could make medical decisions for our daughter. During that exchange, I was told I was dishonest, unkind, and I was disrespectful by a board member. On all of these messages, most of the board were copied, as well as Dr. Battle. Nobody said anything, as if to condone that's an appropriate way to speak to a parent. Then imagine my surprise when 2 weeks ago, my situation was brought up again. And we were blamed publicly for not following through on a mask accommodation form. So you're checking up on us now and publicly discussing medical decisions about my family without our consent is okay? It is not. You crossed the line. Amen. Just like you crossed the line using profanity in the last meeting, thank you for your apology. It's noted and accepted. When you crossed the line while calling parents, the same parents were behaving in a racist manner, and then you issued veiled threats against these parents at the conclusion of the meeting, all while lecturing us on the decorum, right? Okay, so I'm done, finished addressing the board. Parents and staff, listen to me. I need to talk to you. Quit worrying about what your friends think about you and start worrying about what your kids think about you. Our children have sacrificed enough while the rest of our community has moved on. You are allowed to question those who make decisions. Parents, you are allowed to be an active participant in your child's education and their health care without fear of intimidation. And most importantly, I hope everybody was paying attention to the student representatives. I heard a lot of fear and guilt for potentially bringing home an illness to family members if masks were taken away. That is a huge problem. If we are removing mask requirements, we need to be having conversations now with students about why it's safe. I'm only hearing that from Ms. Bush. It seems all the other board members enjoy grandstanding about how masks keep us safe, then vote right down the line to remove the masks.
Thank you, Mr. Chilton. Sarah Seigan.
Thank you, Davey. I just got here, 10 seconds. I was at home repairing a broken washing machine. There's a broken washing machine on my staircase while I'm listening to this board meeting, and I left it there, and I came right here to address. Very calculated. You knew that those of us who've been advocating for mask optional were not here. You could view it. So you brought it up. Well, so I got in my car and I drove here. And this is what I'd like to say. If we're watching the data, we could have taken masks off in November when cases were 36. We could have taken masks off, or that was October. November, it was about the same. But at that point, there was the county building mandate that we were hiding behind. Then it was the court case that we were hiding behind. And the goalposts have continued to move. And I will tell you this. Anxiety is a symptom of uncertainty. So when we tell our kids you're going mask optional, and they know they have that choice, and they know that nationwide it's been heralded as a valuable option because one-way masking, which hasn't really been discussed, with high-quality masks, is a safe way to protect those who are medically vulnerable and for those who just don't feel okay yet, and that's fine. That's fine. So one-way masking is optional, or is part of the mask optional move, and now we're saying, oh, but maybe. And so that anxiety is still there because it's all very, very uncertain. And when you want to talk about safety, I'd like to just bring up when my tipping point was when there was a credible threat, seemingly credible threat at Overton High School, student safety, students going into the cafeteria, people there with weapons, ready to figure out what was going on. And I have a 9th grader, and the 9th graders are feeling very nervous because they've never been in this situation before. There might be a school shooter. People are passing notes around on their phones. And somebody said a comment about how it was really hard to tell what the other students' intentions were because everybody was wearing a mask. And that was the day I said the gloves come off. You want to talk about student safety? I want my kid to be able to see a supportive face in school if he thinks there's a credible shooter. So that was my breaking point. I didn't practice what I was going to say here tonight because I had things I needed to tend to. Every other time I've tried to come up very measured and very unemotional because I know that that is the language of the intellectuals. But tonight I feel very emotional. I'm glad that masks are coming off on the 21st, and I'd just like to say that for those who are wanting to run against any of our incumbents other than Fran Bush, there's a group of passionate, intelligent parents keeping track of the data for 2 years. They'll be happy to help you get elected.
Thank you. Abe Kelleher. Maybe Abby Kelleher.
My name is Abby Kelleher. I have 3 children in 3 different metro schools. I had a speech planned, but I'm going to pivot. The decision you guys made about masks last week was the right one, and I appreciate y'all for doing that. You're never going to make everybody happy. One-way masking is a possibility. Our own FDA says that there are key differences between masks. There are face coverings. meant to provide filtration, surgical masks, meant to provide a fluid barrier, and lastly, respirators, which are meant to provide respiratory protection for the wearer. That's the KN95. The decision you made to make masks optional and to provide those to those that are unsecure about it was the right decision. Stick with it. And to Ms. Bush's point, I just pulled this up on my phone. I'm reading from y'all's website. I just listened to these great, I have a son in AVID. I didn't even come here thinking about that. We have these great, I just heard an hour of great things about education, with things we can do for our children. The mission of MNPS, I'm reading it right here, to deliver a great public education to every student every day. Go back to the mission. The media, the public, you guys, the 10 of y'all sitting here, or however many there are, refocus on your mission. It's to educate. Don't worry about what everybody's saying. Focus on education. Listen to your folks that were up here talking about AVID and all the other things that we have the ability to do. You made the right decision last week or 2 weeks ago. Let's stick with it. Please. Thank you for your time, and I really do appreciate your volunteer work. I've been on a board like this myself, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelleher. Katie McDaniel. Christopher Sutherland. Eve Tanner. Morgan Phillips. James Franklin Spencer. Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Honey kind of capitalized on everything that I wanted to speak about in support for ACIU. I'm glad you guys are listening. I'm glad you heard our voices. I'm glad you guys are actively acting on it. I appreciate that. So I'm going to speak on another part, the security department. The security department is in dire need of help. The security department is short. We can hardly respond to things that go on in the district. Talking hour, 2 hours response time. Doesn't need to happen. Everybody's on behavior, help. We can't get there fast enough because we're short-staffed, because nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to work under the current executive administration. Okay? Today was kind of a wake-up call for me, because I had a situation with my son, and I come back to work and find out that people are talking about that situation. This is one place that I should be safe and be left alone about personal issues, okay? I think I've said it before. I don't play about my peace. I don't play about my money, and I don't play about my kids. After today, I'm gonna sit back and watch what happens. Because right now, I'm shot, y'all. I'm shot. I'm Ricky. I'm turning, walking down, Boys in the Hood. I'm shot. I'm shot. I thought it couldn't happen, but I'm shot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Hattie Bryant. Patrick Norris. Sarah Shelton. Maria Antonio. Andy Rowley. Malachi Dobbins. Elizabeth Self, Judith Seigan, Bernadette Minyard, Heather Andrews, Donna Clay, Jesse Seigan, James Brown.
Bingo.
I do appreciate y'all getting all them people out of my way. When I come here tonight, I got to looking around the room and thinking 12 years ago, I was standing in this very spot talking to Jesse Register about the budget. And I remember very clearly that the man didn't even look at me. I like you a lot better, Dr. Battle. At least you got the gumption to look at me. And I remember telling the man that he'd be gone before too much longer. And that years later, I'd still be here dealing with the damage he did. And here I am. A decade later, and we're still hurting. A third of my fellow union members make less than $30K a year. Living in a city where rents are going up for even a modest apartment by hundreds of dollars a month. Where food is getting more expensive. Gasoline, Lord knows everybody's complaining about gasoline. And support employees are having to deal with that. Now, last year, teachers got a much-deserved $6,900 a year raise on average. And I'm going to do the same thing Honey did. I think we deserve exactly the same. And I'm also going to tell you something I've also been preaching for 10 years. You want to apply the money in the right way? Make it a flat raise. Percentage raises just open up the income gap and make the people at the bottom hurt more. Apply the money as a flat raise, give the same amount of money, give $6,900 to the grade 1 employees, give it to the grade 16 employees. And it'll do a lot more good than if you just apply it as a percentage. And I tell you, I'm closer to grade 16 than I am to grade 1. So I ain't doing myself no favors by asking for this. And that's all I really got to say. Thank you for your time. Things are looking up. I'll say that. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Bethany Riddle Johnson.
Good evening, Board. My name is Bethany Riddle Johnson, and I am an MNPS parent, and I am also a leader in the NOAA Education Task Force, and I live on Lone Oak Road in Ginny Poo Poo Walker's district. Oops, sorry. I'm here tonight to thank you for all of the great things and leadership that the Board is doing and that Dr. Battle and her team are doing. You've committed to valuing all students' identities. That includes welcoming lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer students in our schools, that students of all races, ethnicities, countries of origin are welcomed and valued, that medically vulnerable students are valued and deserve protection. I'm grateful that you're supporting our teachers to continue to teach the truth about our country's history. It's so critical that my children and all of our children learning about the contributions of all of the people of our country, including the many contributions of women, of Native Americans, Black Americans, Mexican Americans, and many other Americans. It's critical that they learn and discuss both the good and the bad, the harmful, the uplifting, all the things that make our country what it is today, and you are giving and supporting our teachers in doing that. My daughter's U.S. history teacher is fabulous, and we need to support our teachers, not make them fearful and devalued, and I appreciate that you're standing up for that. I applaud your expansion of restorative practice assistance to all middle and high schools. I experienced firsthand the benefits of restorative practice assistant in my daughter's high school, who stepped in and provided some really needed support to my daughter and led a restorative circle that was critical to resolving a situation, allowing my daughter to return to focus on learning. And so I think it's a great resource for all students in the building. Finally, I found what Dr. Battle presented about TISA funding alarming, and myself and others at NOAA are committed to advocating for a revised state funding formula to support MNPS students and all the great work that's happening. So in closing, I applaud that you push to don't hate and instead educate in MNPS schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Hoyt.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lynn Hoyt. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm an MNPS parent. I live in Ms. Tyler's district, and I'm a NOAA member. I'm here to thank you for standing strong against a national movement that is divisive and disruptive. I'm here to stand with you to demand censorship stop. I'm here to advocate for local control. I support your governance process to determine our unique needs for Nashville, a process our state has no business taking over. I'm here to speak out against the attacks on educators and librarians and library collections. The chilling effect of teachers afraid to teach means state legislation could make kids afraid to learn. Fear has no place in our classroom. There are policies in place if you don't want your kids reading books you don't approve of. You don't have to create fear in a boardroom. The practice of critical thinking makes space for differences. Not teaching the truth about sex or the Holocaust, slavery, Jim Crow, racism, bigotry, or even climate change really means we're being in denial of sin. Worse, described in the Bible, has been banned historically. You can't improve, do better, be more without recognizing mistakes. And sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. Learning the strength it takes from people groups still systemically victimized to overcome historic oppression is also a powerful lesson. Truth is in power. It can reconcile and build the common good, solutions to move us to a more perfect union. And I agree, ground in the mission, stay the course. Now, about funding. Our state is in denial. They don't believe that our schools have enough money to deliver on the promise of a great education for every child. Parents need to wake up to the fleecing of Nashville that is our governor's new funding formula. If the governor gets his way, he is the reason your taxes will increase. We generate billions in Nashville that bankroll the state, not our city. That money should come back to Nashville, and the cost of living and fair poverty calculations should also factor into the state's fair share. I am, however, not in denial that our teachers are suffering and working conditions are not sustainable. We need to demand smaller class sizes, added support staff, and pay them. Kids behind can be helped while supporting kids ready to move ahead. I like the MEA idea to create a stakeholder committee made up of educators, parents, and district leaders. For parents in the PAC, I take it a step further. Ask to see your school level budget. See how principals allocate funds. Where's that money spent? Maybe we need a state and MNPS dashboard for each school or parents so they can quickly understand what student-based budgeting really looks like at the school level and the student level. I think it will actually help people appreciate what is done and how it gets done and how much money it takes. It also takes strong leadership. I appreciate yours for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoyt. Cassie Norton.
Hello, my name is Cassie. I live and teach in 37214. I'm here because we are reaching a staffing crisis, and I'm asking you to take action to address it. I heard some of that in the budget meeting before the meeting tonight, and I hope you consider to keep having that conversation moving forward. Right now, our students are getting to school late on crowded buses because we don't have enough bus drivers. They're being shuffled from room to room without teachers. Some of their classes have gone months without a teacher. There are no subs, so they spend their day in the gym or in overcrowded classes, or with teachers who are giving up crucial planning time to cover classes. Their teachers are burned out. We're exhausted from being overworked, having giant classes, addressing student emotional, academic, and behavior needs with very little support. Then students do ask for help with their emotional needs. Many of them are struggling with their mental health and with all of the individual and societal traumas that we've been going through for 2 years. but there aren't enough counselors, therapists, or social workers to help them. And at the end of the day, they wait an hour for their bus driver to finally come back from driving an extra route and take them home on a crowded bus. This is the situation in our schools. And if you do not make fully staffing our district a budget priority, things are going to be worse next year. We need raises for all of our staff, especially support staff, subs, and bus drivers. Otherwise, we can't keep expecting people to step forward and do these important jobs when they can't expect to be able to live in Nashville on their wages. We need retention bonuses for teachers. The staffing crisis has meant our workers are doing the jobs of 2 and sometimes 3 people. We've been sacrificing time, resources, and our own mental health to ensure that students' learning doesn't suffer. We need to invest time and resources for social emotional support for students and teachers. We need to stop wasting time on apps and self-care webinars and email blasts and invest in counselors and psychologists. Good teachers have already left this year. More have said that they're not coming back next year. What are you going to do to show teachers that you care about us enough to make sure that we stay? Thank you.
Thank you. Diana Flegel? Flegel? Flegel.
Hello, I'm Diana Flegel. I am an MNPS alum, and also I work as a blended pre-K teacher at Fall Hamilton. I would like to express my concerns about staffing and budgets. My school is currently not fully staffed. We are down some paraprofessionals and our speech therapist. Since we are missing out on these roles, children with IEPs who need extra support for speech language or support in the regular ed classroom are not receiving it. This is a legal violation of their IEPs. We just hired a new teacher last month for a position that has been open since the beginning of the school year. It took us almost the whole year to find someone to fill this position. I believe part of this is because we are not paying enough for our non-certified positions. We need to increase pay for both certified and non-certified staff if we hope to fully staff MNPS. I know teachers of who will not be returning next year. This too is a staffing issue. When I spoke to my colleagues to find out why, they mentioned that they weren't getting a lunch break or planning because we don't have enough staff. This has led them to feel overworked, completely burnt out, and they see no other solution but to retire early or quit. This again is a staffing and budget issue. We need to increase pay for all MNPS employees. Otherwise, our schools will continue to be understaffed and our students will not get the education that they legally deserve. We are also unable to find subs to come into work. So when I need to take a day off because I am unwell, my paraprofessional is stepping up and teaching in that position for me and not getting paid for it. We need to increase sub pay, and we need to allow our other employees in the building who are covering for subs to receive some of that sub pay money that we have. Staff has worked so hard during these difficult times. Please pay us a bonus and to recognize our hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Graham Spencer.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, Dr. Battle. My name is Graham Spencer, and I'm so lucky to teach 6th grade at middle school. Not our elementary school, our middle school. Elementary school is great too, but I'm all middle. I love getting to teach my students, the students of Madison, Rivergate, and Goodlettsville. Like most of my colleagues across MNPS, the reason I teach is for our kids. If it wasn't for our kids, I wouldn't be here. My students are smart, creative, and passionate about so many things, and I love what I get to do. I met most of my students last year, one of the strangest years ever, in 5th grade. I knew that to survive this super funky year, we were going to have to pull out all the stops. From home technology help to delivering prizes to evening small groups to attending soccer games, I did everything I could, and my team did everything we could to support our students. Looping up into 6th grade with them this year, I've gotten to see my students emerge from the confines of virtual learning. It's been really funky as we work to adjust back to traditional school and what that means. I realized yesterday with my kids, this is the longest school year as of today they've had in 3 years. But I continue to support my students, teaching and reteaching prior year standards, teaching my full team when my other 2 teachers were out with COVID, restocking and cleaning the bathrooms when we didn't have full-time custodians for months, making visits to a bus stop when there was sketchy activity from a community member, and as of 3 weeks ago, also coaching boys track. But I cannot fully support my students alone. Education is a team sport. Beyond my phenomenal school team, we must work as a district and a community to ensure that we are doing right by our students. We must ensure that all of our students have equitable access to a great education. My students are in class sizes that are far too big because teachers have continued to leave at unprecedented rates. Then when a teacher is out, my students end up being split into those already larger classes because we do not value our substitutes adequately. Finally, when our students leave for the day, they're crammed onto overfilled buses because we have multiple routes without drivers. Some of the buses are so crowded that I can't even fit on them. Thankfully, these issues do not have to compound any further. Thankfully, there are steps that we can take to improve our students' educational experiences. We must ensure longevity pay and cost of living adjustments for all of our employees. Our team loves our students, but everyone must be compensated fairly and appropriately for their investment. The cost of living has increased drastically in the district, so employee compensation must keep pace. We must increase bus driver and support staff pay. All of our MNPS team works hard, but our bus drivers and support staff are some of the hardest working among us. From picking up double or triple routes to covering for teachers who don't have subs, these two groups regularly go above and beyond their job descriptions. Together, we can do right for our students. Together, we can propel MNPS to unprecedented growth, and together, we can be the premier large school district in the entire Southeast. Looping back to what we said before. Thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Julie Trudell. All right. Beverly Whalen Schmeller.
Greetings. I live in Ms. Bugg's district. I'm here to talk about teacher burnout and what we can do about it. The research identifies 2 factors that can protect individuals against burnout: an internal locus of control and self-efficacy. Both factors help us to fight burnout. It reminds me of an Alice Walker quote: "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any." Well, we have power at the individual level and can harness it by using these 2 factors, and you have power as a board as well. Right now, we need this power to combat a sense of helplessness. The pandemic is an invisible, deadly force that has disrupted our lives and killed more than 900,000 Americans. There are also political forces at work trying to kill the democratizing force of public education by stealing funding and scapegoating teachers. Individually, I refuse to give up my power. I harness it by listing what I can control. I can breathe deeply, get rest, help my colleagues, and ask for their help. We can unplug and spend time in nature. Cataloging our previous accomplishments will help us achieve new goals when we are stuck. This is where our individual self-efficacy kicks in. What has worked for me in the past? Where are my students' successes? In difficult times, no success is too small to honor. I will thank you, the board, for your service. I will help my colleagues. That's what we as educators can do individually. But what can Dr. Battle and the board do at a macro level? The research also indicates that school climate can foster resilience and help retain teachers. Encourage your principals to honor the MOU and get those FACs up and running. Help educators afford to live here by funding longevity pay and a cost of living adjustment. Gas, rent, food. Teachers are more likely to stick around if they can afford these. Pay the substitutes better so that teachers can get their planning time back. Invest in more counselors, social workers, and school psychologists so that we can help our students use their self-efficacy and locus of control. While we are using our individual power, please use your power of the purse. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Rebecca Soto. Susan Norwood.
Susan had to leave because public comment didn't start till 7 p.m., 13 hours after she gets to school every day. So I'll be reading her statement. My name is Susan Norwood. I am an English teacher at McGavick High School, where I've taught for the past 10 years. This is my 15th year as a teacher in MNPS. How is Nashville going to fund public education this budget season? And how will we spend our COVID emergency funds known as ESSER funds? Teachers should have a say, so here's my say. First of all, teachers and other educators who work directly with students need to be adequately compensated for the important and difficult job we do in educating our city's children. Teacher pay was adjusted, no, not raised, but adjusted last year to compensate for all of the previous years our pay had been frozen. My pay had been stagnant for the majority of my career. During this time, I got more experience and became a better teacher, but my pay didn't go up in any meaningful way during all that time. So my pay was adjusted last year, but I, like other teachers, still struggle to live in Nashville. My pay increased, that is true, but the increase was still less than the increase in the cost of living that occurred at the same time. You ask why you can't recruit and retain teachers? It's pretty obvious. We can't afford to live here independently, despite being college-educated professionals. Those of us who work directly with students, including bus drivers, subs, parapros, secretaries, campus support, etc., need more pay, and we need it now. There is no affordable housing for us. Rent has gone up, food has gone up, gas is going up. We need a cost of living adjustment and COVID hazard pay. Let's look at housing. The asking price for a 1,300 square foot home in Woodbine is about $500,000. Of course, if you actually want to buy that house, you have to offer at least $25,000 over asking price in order to compete with all those California buyers. So if you're a single teacher, you can forget about buying a house ever, and if you have to rent for your entire career, you never really get ahead. You never get the financial security that having equity in a house provides. A cost of living adjustment is a modest ask for an increase in pay for 1 year only. It is to help us get through these increased expenses and still be able to afford to teach. It is a Band-Aid, but better a Band-Aid than nothing at all. We are also asking for COVID hazard pay. Most of us educators have to work second jobs, and most every teacher I know has gotten sick from COVID at least once and couldn't go to their second job. Please increase compensation to ensure sufficient adult staff to safely educate our children.
Thank you. Sarah Morrison.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Morrison, and I'm a third grade teacher at Schwab Elementary and a member of MNEA. I'd like to share with you all a message that I got on social media this past Saturday, March 5th. It came from a mentor teacher I worked with at the start of my teaching career 9 years ago. It started, "Hi, Sarah. When talking to a friend today, your name came up. She's an ex-Stodia teacher and a former college professor. She now works for the curriculum company blank. She does remote work, and it is all online. I told her about you. She works with the science curriculum. She said if you're ever interested in employment, to contact her. She would be happy to speak with you." The person who sent me the message goes on to share the other person's contact information and ends with, "I know you are a great teacher, and I thought it might help you. I'm here to ask all of you to give me and many of the rest of us a reason to stay in your classrooms. I need a reason to not go work for a curriculum company. We need longevity pay, a cost of living adjustment, and compensation for the crisis work that we've been doing for the last 2 years. We need you to invest in the backbones of our schools and get us more support staff, bus drivers, and substitutes. These roles I don't fill, but I could not do my job without, and some days I'm having to miraculously find ways to do so. And maybe even some that don't speak only English, as that has even become a hurdle to some of my most vulnerable students this week who needed SEL support and couldn't access it because of the language barrier. If the goal is to drive out highly qualified and caring teachers out of the classroom, the trajectory that we're currently on is working well. There's no secret stash of us waiting in the wings to fill these positions. We don't want you to spend this ESSER money on another program. We don't need another new curriculum. We don't need more walkthroughs, feedback forms, peer reviews, protocols, or initiatives. We need help, support, dignity, and respect. Dr. Battle, you spoke back in December during the MNEA Town Hall about identifying and eliminating inequities within MNPS as a core tenet in the district. So I'd like to leave you all with a quote from researcher, educator, and speaker Dina Simmons that says, "No one really learns well when teachers are stressed and burnout, which is why I say that a stressed and burnout teaching force is an equity issue. If we believe in equity and we want our students to do well, we have to ensure our educators are doing well too." Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Scher.
Greetings, Chair, members of the board, including our student members. You are very appreciated. Thank you for volunteering your time. And Dr. Battle. My name is Michelle Sheriff, president of MNEA. MNEA is proud to have partnered with MNPS to secure the $50 million from the mayor and city council to correct the certificated salary schedule. We celebrate with you and the city of Nashville for having the highest paid teachers in the state. We're also glad that our joint compensation committee recommended including step increases in the continuity of effort budget, and we thank you and appreciate that the district is following that recommendation. MNEA urges the district to build a budget prioritizing student-facing positions. We know the most important thing for student learning is to have a certificated teacher in every classroom. The reality is this year we have been far from that. Teachers and support staff have had to sacrifice their time and exhaust themselves to cover unfilled vacancies and particularly unfilled sub-jobs. What our students need is stability. To achieve this, MNEA asked the district to be forward-thinking and prioritize the student-facing educator and staff retention. Dr. Battle stated educators need to feel appreciated at every stage of their career, and we agree. The following are priorities identified by educators and staff as the most important to help them feel valued. Implement a longevity pay plan for certificated staff similar to the longevity pay for principals, assistant principals, executive directors, and others on the administrative pay plan. Budget for a minimum of 3% cost of living adjustment for all staff to offset the skyrocketing cost of living in Nashville. Increase substitute pay to be competitive with the Nashville job market. Utilize ESSER funds to offer COVID bonus for educators and staff. Unfortunately, we continue at MNEA to have teachers reach out to us every week seeking guidance about how to resign and not have an action against their licensure at the state. And many who are leaving plan to leave the education profession or the classroom, such as what Sarah just explained. Another priority is having school-based stakeholder committees to give input on annual budgeting and allocation of ESSER funds. Dr. Battles also stated that the process should be transparent and include stakeholder input and feedback. And again, we agree on asking for that process to be consistent and equitable for educators, students, and families and other stakeholders across the district. MNEA appreciates your effort. We know you don't have an easy job, and we appreciate all you do to support educators, and we stand ready to be part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Kellyanne Graff.
Hello, it is so nice to speak to you today. I'm Kellyanne Graff. I teach at Thurgood Marshall Middle in Fran Bush's district, and I live in Player Peters district. And I absolutely love working at Marshall. I love the community I have. I have taught the students of janitors, support staff, nutrition workers, other teachers, and front secretarial workers, and I'm a second-year teacher. So we are really deeply embedded within our community. But I want us to take a step back and think about what our budget as a school is doing for our students. We know that poverty undermines education. It sets students up for failure in the classroom. It creates hurdles they have to overcome. We are creating the conditions of poverty in our own classrooms by failing to pay our support staff a living wage. We are making it harder for teachers, for students to get through the day because of this wealth disparity. We need so much more staff to make these schools happen. Today, when my counselor was out at Cane Ridge helping kids take classes, my dean of students was in a meeting. My social worker was in a meeting. My front office worker took a student who, using restorative practices, I prevented from getting into a fight and needed a safe space for her to go. And all of our SEL workers were occupied because their caseload is too high. We need easily twice as many SEL workers and support staff at our schools to make them run smoothly. In the past week, I've intercepted fights. I've been a first responder to a car accident. I'm directing traffic. I'm building relationships with parents through these interactions. But I lost my planning to go respond to a car accident. Today I lost my planning to have a talk with a data coach about how to implement a new data strategy. I need that time to plan. I need that time to grade and create feedback, meaningful feedback for my students. I spend my lunch talking with students about war and Iraq and how their families have been impacted by war throughout history, because they don't have time in class to talk about these things. Last week, I subbed every single day for at least 2 classes. And I don't know when or if I'm going to see subpay for that. We need a clear and transparent way to see subpay, because teachers are owed thousands of dollars because we have been subbing every single day. And we don't know if we're gonna get the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Berthina Naba-McKinney.
Ooh, it's been a long day. Good evening, Dr. Battle, Chair Buggs, school board members, students, teachers, staff, and families in the audience. My name is Dr. Berthina Naba-McKinney. I have 5 children who have graduated from Metro schools and still have a son in 3rd grade in a District 4 elementary school. I'm a candidate for school board in District 4, but today I'm representing the Parent Advisory Council for the McGavick Cluster as their coordinator. Before I begin, I would like to personally congratulate our McGavick High School students on their leadership and the opportunities Metro Schools has afforded them in their classes and the skills they have learned from the AVID program. Those 3 students, Kendall Derricks, Luisa Argueta, and Lorena Shaw, not only have shown leadership to represent McGavick, but they were also selected to participate and just graduated from the Elevate, which is formerly Leadership Donaldson Hermitage Youth Leadership Program, of which I'm the coordinator for that as well. And so the Yale program brings together a cohort of high school juniors from McGavick High School, Donaldson Christian Academy, Tennessee School for the Blind, and a homeschool student. And so it brings those students together to share and learn with one another, as well as hone in on their leadership skills that will prepare them for college, career, and life. And so I want to give a round of applause not only to Principal Angela Bailey, but also their teacher mentor, Zachary Hicks, for a job well done in supporting this leadership program and giving them the space to participate. And a round of applause for the students. Our students are brilliant, y'all, and we need to show up and tell them that. You guys are brilliant, and I've appreciated your voice on our school board. From the parent side, we are concerned about the public discourse around education. Recently, my son came home and asked why people don't like our teachers. I really like my teacher. She's really nice. I just don't understand why people just don't like teachers right now. The public comments, the public attacks and the disparaging comments and disinformation is really heart-wrenching. I don't know how many times I've heard that this is the nature of the beast and shouldn't take it personal, but my response is, how can we not take it personal? My children's life and the lives of all of our children across this district are worth us taking this serious. This discord has not helped our district, not helped our staff, and especially our students. We appreciate, Dr. Battle, your attention to prioritize the health and safety of our students and our staff. We hope we can focus on more critical issues, though, happening in education. Currently, we are faced at the Tennessee legislatures with making and voting on policies that will affect us, and we need to really hone in on those policies.
Thank you, Dr. Naba-McKinney.
So that we have, so that we are working together to make the impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Naba-McKinney. Sarah Pascal.
Thank you so much. You're actually probably the first one today of all the judges I've talked to at work that have actually pronounced my last name correctly, so thank you. My name is Sarah Pascal. I am a mother of 3 children. 2 of them are here in Davidson County. 1 was in Davidson County, but I did have to pull her from the district. The mask mandates, I know it's a big subject and everything. I sat down and I asked my first and fourth grader what they felt about the masks. They said they were hot, they're sweaty, they can't breathe, they can't talk. You know, it's a hard time talking. They have a hard time hearing their teachers talk. All day long, it's pull your masks up, and it gets very irritating to the children because it's taking time away from their learning. With my oldest, who is actually here with me today, reason we had to take her out of it was because she was having constant asthma attacks at school. She'd be in the bathroom hyperventilating because she would get overheated, couldn't talk. I'd have to go pick her up almost every other day because of it, and it caused her to have such anxiety that she could not, I mean, she's still dealing with it, and stomach pains that were causing it too. Seeing it in the schools that they are not learning. These kids are not taking it serious. They just feel like, you know, the masks are, everyone can hide behind them. Like one of the other ladies said, you know, you cannot see the expression on the face of the other person that you're talking to. So what if they are contemplating on doing something? You don't know. At least without masks, you can see. There is a chance that you can make classrooms where those who want to have masks stay in that class, and the ones that are okay with the option, they can go into another class. Not meaning to try to do a segregation at all, but if it's to help keep people safe, that is a good cause. One of the I thought was funny, mentioned by one of the board members was the fact that she said, it's here and we're having to live through it. Well, does that mean that it's here? We never know when it's going to be leaving, so do our children have to wear a mask every single day for the rest of their lives or through the whole up to 12th grade? So from pre-K to 12th grade for the rest of their lives, are they going to have to wear a mask every day? Also, I can't remember what I was going to say. That's it. I'll tell you. That's where I'm going to end. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Cram.
Hi, my name is Mary Jo Cram. I'm a teacher at the Academy at Old Cockrell. I'm also a Metro parent with 2 boys at Dan Mills Elementary. I'm here in support of the MNEA campaign to fully staff MNPS. But more importantly, I want to tell you about Miss Linda Cotton and Miss Vicki Cotton, no relation. These women are part of the support staff at our school. Miss Linda Cotton came to our school this year, and we call her Miss C, so we don't confuse her with Miss Vicki Cotton. Before she came to us, she worked at Eagle View Elementary, so she has a total of 7 years of service in the district. She's our attendance clerk. When students are tardy, she welcomes them to school and puts their attendance data into Infinite Campus. She also deals with transcripts, cumulative records, and truancy letters. Ms. Vicki Cotton, our campus supervisor, has worked for the district for 18 years. Her job is to ensure student safety. Her nickname is the Bulldog because of her tough, stubborn insistence that students act right. She commutes from White House every day because she loves her job. But with rising gas prices, she needs a raise now more than ever. These women are the first friendly faces to greet our students in the morning. So they play an essential role in building a positive school culture. They know all our students by name. They help kids to feel cared for from the minute they walk in our building. The relationships they build with students are every bit as important as the ones we build as teachers. Our school motto is acceptance, recognition, and a sense of belonging. These women put it into practice every day. In addition to our 2 Miss Cottons, we also have Miss Vanessa Russell, our secretary bookkeeper, Mr. Tim Etter, our custodian, and Miss Lorinda Hogan, a frequent substitute teacher. They and all the other stellar support staff in the district are vital parts of the MNPS team. Every long-term employee of Metro Schools has suffered from years of missed step increases and cost of living adjustments. Last year, teachers got life-changing, long overdue raises. Now it's our turn to stand up for our colleagues who work just as hard and whose contributions to our students' educations are just as valuable. Let's not go one more year without giving Miss C and Miss Cotton the raises they deserve. I trust you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Paige Babcock.
Paige couldn't make it this evening, but she did ask me to read her statement. Good evening. I'm Paige LaGrone Babcock, mother of an MNPS junior at Hillsborough High School and a wife of a second grade teacher at J.E. Moss Elementary. I'm also a sixth grade literacy teacher at Apollo Middle School. I've been advocating for public school funding here in Nashville for over a decade. I am tired. And now, here we are, 2 years to the week into a pandemic that has thrown things cattywampus. Yes, this school year, my husband and I and many of our colleagues got our first significant pay raise since we began teaching in MNPS. For our family of 3, it has been a great help. We no longer are forced to decide between paying for extracurriculars for our son or scraping together enough to repair a 10-year-old car. We can now pay our mortgage for a small, modest home and also buy the needed sports gear without worrying about the utilities. We are grateful. And yet, the pandemic has magnified everything. The needs for students, communities, and educators and their families have increased. We have a mental health care crisis among those who have suffered health issues, job and family losses, social isolation, and a divided nation in racial turmoil. Students seem not just to be struggling with academics this year, but with social structures and developmental milestones. Behaviors in schools are turned up. Responsibilities, too. We are hurting, all of us. The kids are not okay. The teachers and the bus drivers and paraprofessionals and cafeteria workers and front office folks in schools are not okay. We are desperate for more boots on the ground. Even with a raise, teachers can make a fraction of those with similar education, and it's hard to keep up in a boomtown like Nashville. Money is part of the reason teachers are walking, but add to that the intense scrutiny and micromanagement of our profession, legislation making it ever more challenging to teach, and the loss of support from the public. Teachers are stressed and sick, trying to balance their work and home life responsibilities and coming up short on both. Just this past Sunday, I learned news of 2 educators from our district who I greatly admire. Each of them loves students, learning, diverse literature, and being part of a school community. Yet one just left the district because of work stress-induced health risk factors along with long COVID. The other, once a much beloved teacher of my son, is plotting their exit strategy. I am heartbroken to learn of the district's loss of these educators, yet applaud their decisions to take care of themselves and their families. This is what we can expect. Teachers will leave. We are trying to bail out a sinking boat with a teaspoon and we are drowning. Help us not have to go. Help us be able to stay. We need a COVID bonus now for all educators. We need to attract and retain educators with better pay, greater protection against legislation that threatens our livelihood and our students' learning, and to have more social workers and counselors in place to deal with the mental health issues the perfect pandemic storm has wrought for our students and their families. Please help teachers. Healthier teachers means healthier schools. Help us.
Thank you. All right, and that concludes public participation for this month. But we still have to get through the consent agenda and governance issues, so we're going to take a quick 3-minute break to allow for biology. Yeah, we will begin at 8:10. Thank you all for obliging us for a quick break. We will now move on to consent agenda. We had 2 items that were removed from the agenda. Items 7, Stars Nashville, items 1C7, Stars Nashville, and 1D, TDOE Pilot Plan. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended?
Did we already do this?
We already did that.
We adopted the agenda. Do we still?
No, we didn't adopt the consent agenda.
Oh, we're good.
Oh,
I don't know what that means. So do we have to vote on the consent agenda?
We haven't, yeah.
Yes, we do have to vote on the consent agenda.
You're right,
So
you're right.
do I have a motion for the agenda, for the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
We have a first, and do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. We will move on to 1C7, Stars Nashville. Mrs. Tyler, go right ahead.
So I just wanted to pull this off because I noticed that it was a $12 million contract for 2 years, and I don't know a lot about STARS. I've heard some good things. I've read about it, and I just want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence. So I feel like something that large needs to be put out on the floor for us to discuss. So if we could just get a quick rundown on what STARS is going to do for us that's worth $6 million a year, I would love to hear it.
All right, and just as for the viewing public, just so you know, every contract comes before the board via consent agenda. It's not that we just push them through. The board at any time can remove any item for discussion. So again, every single contract that's above $50,000 has to come through the consent agenda to the board. Dr. Battle, would you like to take this?
Dr. Springer, can you approach the podium, please?
Good evening again. So the amount of the contract is reflective of 70 mental health service providers and 70 mental health service providers, 30 social workers, and 40 other certified personnel to provide mental health support. So that is what that contract entails. And again, that is just focused on contracted services to ensure that our students' needs are met.
All right, Mrs. Tyler, thank you, Dr. Springer. Mrs. Masters?
Is that what we were talking about earlier? Yeah, okay, that's what they're providing. Is there, would it just be impossible to source this kind of employee to hire for MNPS? Is that why we're outsourcing it?
Dr. Battle?
I think we mentioned earlier, because we're leveraging ESSER funds for this, being fiscally responsible, given the sunset in September of 2024, but also trying to proactively plan for the shift into our operational budget. That's not a guarantee, and so we need to be mindful of providing the supports and resources to our students, at the same time knowing that this is non-recurring funds.
All right, any other questions? Go right ahead, Mrs. Puva Walker.
I just want to give a shout out to STARS. I worked at Overton, and STARS came in and offered support groups for grief, for drug abuse, for all kinds of things. Just first class staff and program, and just a tremendous resource. And thank you, Roger Dinwiddie, for all you do.
Yes, Ms. Masters.
I was just going to say, yeah, I'm familiar with STARS too, and I definitely think very highly of their program. And I have a college savings program that is administered by STARS. They do that as well, so. Little plug.
All right, Mrs. Elrod and then Mrs. Player.
I don't have anything.
Oh, the previous question.
All right, you said move to.
Call the question?
Call the question.
There is no question. Could I have a motion?
Oh, motion to approve the contract. The STARS contract.
Do we have a second?
Second. I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to item 1D, TDOE pilot plan. Mrs.
The
Masters?
different STARS that has the college savings program. Sorry, I'm tired. But I need to know the development director for this STARS.
Cut off.
I'm losing it. Okay, deep breath. Okay, so I pulled this one for discussion as well, because this is it's kind of a big deal, because just to sort of refresh everyone's memory, we voted on a contract about this school intervention plan for Jerry Baxter Middle School, and it is the result of state legislation. Senate Bill 122. And what that puts into place is this program where the state chooses, was 20 schools statewide that are priority schools, 10 of them to be in a sort of control group, and 10 of them to actually receive contracted intervention services. There is a fiscal note attached to that. So the funds that we voted to approve were state funds to pay a consulting firm. We were given 2 consulting firms to choose from by the state. We chose one, put the committee into place, and the work at Jerry Baxter has begun. And I really wanted to, again, in the interest of transparency around this and in the interest of us fully acknowledging
that this program is the result of the state, in essence, taking over one of our middle schools, or taking over a whole lot of the operations, the operational planning for one of our middle schools. Given that that middle school is in my district, I also want to point out that we had already, Dr. Battle had already put into place an amazing principal who already had begun a lot of really important interventions and procedures from the very beginning. We were already starting to see changes at that school, changes in the school culture, changes in the outcomes. So all that to say, while yes, the school is in priority status, what you see in the plan presented for us to approve is very much also a reflection of interventions that had already been put in place before this consulting firm came on board. Having sit in on quite a bit of the planning process, because the school board member got to be on the committee, and then having attended some of the wrap-up sessions that included the consultant, they were good at their jobs and did a lovely job. I will say that a lot of the motivations and decision-making was very much led by the school team and by our MNPS team, which I appreciated that, and they did a great job. They showed themselves to be highly knowledgeable and ready for the tasks at hand. This legislation allows us as a board to either accept the plan as presented or to present our own plan for turnaround, also in conjunction with the committee. The consultant will be paid $125,000 a year for 4 years, and an additional $500,000 should the school move out of priority status. And again, that's not something MNPS decided. All that to say, I just want us to be highly aware, and I want to state for the record that we are in a situation where it's highly likely that this school was headed in that direction anyway because of the very strong leadership. And that $500,000 will not go to the benefit of Jerry Baxter Middle School at the end. Not saying that the $125,000 a year going to the consultants isn't helping Jerry Baxter in some way, because there are some educational experts helping, being a part of the team. But I just want to point out, in this larger conversation about state-level funding for Davidson County, there's $500,000 investment that could have been put to very good use at Jerry Baxter Middle School through decisions made by Jerry Baxter Middle School. So I just had to say my piece about that. And also, I feel like, I see members of the team here, and I sat in on it, so if anyone had, I know that it's unfortunate Mr. Little isn't here this evening because he had a lot of questions about it when we did the contract to begin with, but if anyone had any questions about it, about the legislation, about the fiscal note attached to it, about the process, I just think it's a really important thing for that school to understand and for us as a district to understand what was happening there. And I think it's really, really important that we acknowledge the good work being done by Jerry Baxter Middle School staff.
And shout out to the Jerry Baxter staff in the audience.
And they're still here. After all this time.
There's also my dad out there, but neither here nor there. All right, so does there any other discussion around this? Go right ahead, Mrs. Pooper-Walker.
First, I want to say thank you, Emily, for giving your time to this work. I don't think when you run for office, you think you're going to sit on a school turnaround team. But some of the most important work we can probably do is sit in and help a school, and bring that perspective. I will say that school turnaround of priority schools is a perpetual, feels like experiment, right? That we have not always cracked that nut as a state. And I want to just say for the record that dismantling the school board and creating a different model of governance for us is not an evidence-based strategy to address school turnaround. And so I just think people need to be careful about imposing an agenda onto something as critically important as that.
Can I add one more thing?
What'd you say?
Can I add one more thing?
Go right ahead.
I also want to add that while I don't hesitate to say that I think we're okay to move forward with adopting this plan. I do feel that at some point, some of the language was wordsmithed in a way that reflects negatively on some of the past practices of the school unnecessarily. So I just kind of want to put that caveat out there. While I think the overall plan is okay, and I know that Dr. Battle, from what I understand, was really hopeful that it could align with our strategic plan and our core tenets as a district so that Jerry Baxter can continue to exist as a part of our school system and not have to be sort of like, set aside for these 4 years to follow its own plan. And I do think efforts were made to follow that. But what I really don't want is for the team at Jerry Baxter to read any of the language in this and think, wow, they thought I didn't do such a great job last year. They thought I wasn't trying to connect with parents, because that was not at all, from my experience with being a part of the committee, the intention of it. And I do think that some of the language is unnecessarily negative. Just throwing that out there.
Mrs. Player?
Twin. Motion to approve the contract.
Do we have a second?
The pilot plan.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? All abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All right, we will now, oh goodness, we will now move forward to announcements. I take that back. I'm sorry. We shifted 2 weeks ago from committee reports. Are there any committee updates or reports that have occurred in the last 2 weeks? I'm sorry, reports from committee meetings that have occurred in the last 2 weeks.
Including today or not including today?
Go ahead and include today for anyone that,
Okay.
just a quick recap.
We had a budget and finance meeting. Dr. Battle presented a lovely presentation. Look in your agenda. And we will have a budget and finance meeting in 2 weeks where we have a work session to get into the details. The PowerPoint presented the continuity of service, the cost with that, and then cost of the aspirational budget.
Thank you. We also had a board retreat. I'll be following up with Dr. Sevier about scheduling that Title IX training that has been mandated by the city. We also began conversations then about the budget and set priorities there. We will likely, Mrs. Player Peters, talk about another budget meeting and see if we need to have a second retreat sometime in April or May. Advocacy, did you have any reports, any reporting out you'd like to share?
I can share it during announcements since we didn't officially have a meeting. So.
Okay. Then, you know what, we'll switch it up. Angeli, would you mind starting us out for announcements?
Okay. I'll start by saying Happy International Women's Day. Second, congratulations to all 16 of my senior peers who were named National Merit Finalists. Special shout out to my best friend, Rudra Patel, and I know he's going to hate me for saying that. But thank you for all those who attended the 3rd Annual Youth Climate Summit led by the Cumberland River Compact this past Saturday. With that, I want to extend a huge congratulations to all students who participated in the Tennessee DECA state competition this past weekend, and congratulate all those who qualified for the International DECA Conference, which will take place next month in Atlanta. MNPS was very well represented in yet another competition, so I just wanted to say congratulations. And because I get to go first, I just want to say congratulations to Ebenezer and all other students who received acceptances to one of the many Tennessee Governor schools. I went to school for international studies in Memphis last summer, and it's truly one of the greatest experiences that had offered to me. I met some of my best friends and I just had the best time. So I highly encourage anyone to take the advantage for next year and following years too. With this, I wanted to say that there's a lot going on in the world right now. Let's not underplay the current state of what's happening, the atrocities that are allowed to be carried out. Move past the selfish tendencies that are drawn from personal inconveniences and educate yourself on the tough realities that many are currently facing outside of the city, outside of the state, outside of this country. Finally, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who sent support to me and Ebenezer since the last board meeting, as well as this board's discussion to ensure the safety of the student board members as well as the rest of the student body. So, per a saying my parents had instilled in me growing up, be kind and think before you speak. I want to preface this by saying that I do not say any of this seeking for applause or praise. I say it because I intend to fulfill my role and represent the students. It's appalling how individuals, adults, students, leaders, are deemed as unintelligent because of their views that may differ from yours. Is that what we're teaching our students? Is it okay to come with threats and rude words just because things don't go your way or when you're met with oppositions? Let's emphasize on respect and create an environment where people can offer constructive criticism because dissent is okay. Let's lead by example. Let's focus on student voice and students' choices because regardless if it's this board or parents, students' stances are oftentimes drowned out by adults' final say. So I would encourage the adults who speak in the space to reflect on your intent and how you articulate your points. Students are watching you, and you have a lot of influence on how we may view things. But it should not be my responsibility or any other student's responsibility to call out adults on behavior that is frowned upon for younger individuals. Anything that is said in this room, especially towards Ebenezer and I, does not stay in this room, as every student is being represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen. I told you the children will save us. All right, Mrs. Tyler.
Well, first of all, I want to let you guys know how much we value you and what you say, and I'm going to continue to ask your opinion on things because we're here to represent students, and that's who you are, and that's who you represent. And again, a reminder to adults to be adults and to treat one another with kindness and to stay away from attacking student board members. That is just, I don't understand it. I don't understand that compulsion to attack somebody who is a student. Moving on, I want to also congratulate the 16 National Merit Scholarship finalists, especially Hillwood High School's Rudra Patel. And on a personal note, today's my middle son's birthday, so happy birthday, Aiden.
Nice. Mrs. Masters.
Thank you. So I did want to mention that the Parent Advisory Council will be here at the board meeting on March 22nd to present their annual report to go over all of the good work that they have done over this past year. I also wanted, I know I'm talking about Jerry Baxter a lot tonight, but I wanted to give a shout out to Jerry Baxter. Both their boys and girls basketball teams had really good seasons, and with the help of Mr. Robert Taylor and Fisk University, the students were able to go to a Grizzlies game in Memphis, which was very exciting and wonderful, and yay, field trips. Yay, field trips. So that was an exciting opportunity for them. Also wanted to thank the Nashville Scene for the first ever student issue featuring our student board members on lots of very compelling topics. I encourage you to pick it up and read all about them and their thoughts on things. And there was also a student essay contest, and the top essay was by Mackenzie Bransford, a senior at Nashville School of the Arts. And full disclosure, I do work for the organization that helped with that essay contest, but I did not read the essays or have any part in choosing the winners because I would have been too biased because I knew too many of the kids that submitted essays. So it's just a really exciting issue, and it really, when we want to talk about getting in the heads of students and what it's really been like for them through this difficult, interesting time, I thought it did a nice job of illuminating that. Then on the advocacy piece, I just would like to encourage everyone to pay attention what is going on in the state legislature right now when it comes to the new funding formula bill. It was rolled today, so it'll be in an education subcommittee again Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. And you can email me directly if you want me to tell you which legislators are on that committee. You can also look it up, but I just encourage you to be in touch with your legislators. If you have relationships with legislators outside of Davidson County, all the better, because of course they all get to vote on it. And let them know that you're not okay with Davidson County schools being shortchanged in this funding formula, and that you're not okay with the considerably higher cost of living in Nashville and in our urban districts not being considered and not being given any kind of weight in this formula. So I do encourage you to advocate. I know I talked at the last meeting a lot about advocating about things that really matter, and this really, really matters and could have a long-term impact on our schools. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Mrs. Player?
Again, happy International Women's Day. Women rock. Woo-hoo. Also, congratulations to Lakeisha Rayford, who won the Community Favorite Award at the inaugural Nashville Public Education Teacherpreneur event. She's at Glencliff Elementary in my district, so congratulations for that. And then all congratulations to Miss Angeline over here. She's being bashful. But I am an alum of this program of YMCA Youth in Government, and she was selected on the Conference on National Affairs. It's been so long since I was a part of that, a long time ago when I was a high school student. So I'm just happy that someone's following the same program, and then one day she'll be duly elected just like me.
I love that. All right, Vice Chair Elrod.
Thank you. So first I want to say congratulations to several Overton Bobcats. First we have Vivian Mariscal, and she won the state title for her weight class in wrestling, so that's really exciting for her. The picture of her is so great. If you go to the Overton Twitter account, it is just exuberant. Additionally, and there's also a great picture of her with Dr. Battle. Thank you for going and cheering her on. Additionally, I would like to provide some congratulations, and this is just to their first names. Jojo, Lance, Roberto, Montserrat, and Fatima, they all earned the Bell Tower Scholarship. The Bell Tower Scholarship provides a 4-year scholarship to Belmont, and all of those, again, are Overton students, so congratulations to them. Again, Anjali mentioned the DECA International Championships that are happening next month, but she did fail to mention that she additionally qualified for them. And so, good job. And also, she stole my thunder, and congratulations on Governor's School. I also want to thank Tusculum Elementary. They invited me to read for Read Me Week last week. That was a really exciting experience. I was so glad to do it in person. I spent most of my day Friday at the school and read with, I think, 7 classrooms at the end of the day. So thank you so much to the organization of it, through Tara and Mary Gildry for organizing all those visits. I know that was a lot of work. And then lastly, I just kind of want to make, like a lot of my colleagues, a statement that if you participate in public participation, then you are addressing us as a Board of Education, as an elected official, and not our student board members, but also not our employees, like our teachers and staff. And I want to make sure that we're really clear about that, as that's not appropriate, as if they also would have addressed you as well. So make sure that we have some decorum and civility, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Mrs. Bush.
Yes. So my announcement, as I sit here tonight and I listen through public comments, every time we have them, it seems like the same thing keeps coming up every single time. And yet this board doesn't address those things every single time. Teacher shortages. Where's your hand for that? But you got it for masks. Bus driver shortages. Where's your hand? You got it for mask. Support staff. Underpaid. I'm so tired of honey coming. I like honey. but Honey wants her money along with the other support staffs. And how long are we going to keep this pay study going? Okay, raise your hand to that. Okay, little to no substitutes. Raise your hand for that, board, but you raise your hand for mask. Failure with wit and wisdom. Raise your hand. Raise your hand to that, board, but you raise your hand for mask. Sub-pay. Where's the sub-pay? Where's the teacher sub-pay for the extra work they do? You hear it over and over and over again. But you raise your hand for that. Where's your hand for that? But you talk about, you raise your hand for mask. And yet, you focus so much on that, which is such a distraction, that we have all these issues that we have that our students are not learning. They are not in a place and space where they couldn't even be college and career ready. We do have a lot of children, but we have the majority of children that are not learning. And it's not the teacher's fault. They're doing the best they can. So by the end of the semester, when we start losing more teachers, let's raise our hand on how we're going to fix it. Mask should never be another distraction. We should stay focused on our priorities on this board. All of you guys, I'm looking at all of you, focus on what our priorities are. Focus. It's all about something totally opposite from what we should be focused on. Our elementary students, they can't read, barely writing, barely. But you know what the teachers tell me? We were just told we just have to meet them halfway. We just have to meet them halfway. So what are we going to do? Are we going to raise our hand to go back to our priorities? Our priorities is all of these things I listed that we're having a problem. So what are we going to do? You going to go sub? You going to go sub? You going to go volunteer? Because we're losing teachers. We don't have enough subs. We don't have enough bus drivers. Are we going to get our CDL license? But those who already have them already have the education as far as their teaching degrees and their CDLs and everything else they have in order to be productive in our district, because they are in the trenches and they are the professionals. But yet, they're leaving, they're leaving, they're leaving, they're leaving. Where's your hand? Where's your hand? Are we going to help them stop it? I want to. I want to stay focused on what's right for our children. That's what I got my hand up for. But all we do is just somehow try to go away from the grain of what we should be focused on. It's ridiculous. And we should be ashamed of ourselves. Let's get back focused on what we should be doing as a board, making sure that this district is moving in the right direction, making sure our students are educated, make sure the ones that don't have, make sure the ones that need to get scholarships so we can support them. I'm proud of our student board members, but we need thousands of more like them. Thousands. We need to support them. I love to hear it. I want to hear more of it. Because the rate we're going right now, we have lost generations with an S. And we have a lot of work to do. And I take this seriously because our students are suffering. And we need to stay focused on what is our priorities on this board, making sure that they're educated, making sure we stay focused and keep teachers in the classroom. Bus drivers. We lost 30 bus drivers since last July. Did you know that? It's a lot. So let's stay focused on our priorities and let's move on. It's time to re-enter our environment as normal as possible, so our students who are paying attention, who are watching, our parents who are paying attention and are watching, we need to stay focused on our priorities. And they're tired of it. And Nashville looks great. Our school district should look great, but we're not there yet. We still have a long way to go. And our priorities were not focused. And I'm getting very frustrated because you have a due diligence to make sure that these students are getting the support they need so they can academically be college, career, and trade ready. Those big buildings downtown, we're not going to be able to fill them up with our students
because we have to focus on getting them to that level where they can be able to be corporate if that's what they choose. You can blow all you want to, because I'm blowing because I'm pissed, because I'm tired of us veering off and doing something totally different from what we need to be doing. Teacher shortages, bus driver shortages, support staff unpaid, little to no substitutes, failure with wit and wisdom. I know you're tired of listening to it. I am too. I am too. So until we can start focusing and making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, or due diligence to our people who are in the trenches, then I'm going to keep having a conversation until things are finally done, until this board starts to prioritize. That's what we should do. I'm offended that I got little students that don't know how to read. I'm offended that our literacy and numeracy is way down. We all should be. It's not about my 5 boys. It's about 80,000 more students to me. And let's make sure that they are ready for life. So get your priorities together. At least do that. That's why you're on this board.
Thank you, Mrs. Poopa-Walker.
So my priority as a board member is to do my due diligence, which includes a superintendent evaluation, which includes coming to finance committee meetings and weighing in on the priorities for our billion-dollar budget, which includes, participating and engaging in a way that is aligned to what we were elected to do. And so I'm good with my focus. I'm good with the due diligence that I'm doing. And so I want to salute my board members who are also doing the same thing and not up here making a campaign speech. I would like to congratulate all the students who got Bridges to Belmont scholarships. Super exciting. Thank you, Belmont. Want to celebrate School Social Worker Week. We love our social workers. Also want to congratulate Hillsborough girls basketball team, regional champs. And I want to thank all the women in my life, my mother, my sisters, my daughter, my board members, my friends. Love you all. Couldn't do it without you.
Thank you, Mrs. Poopa-Walker. Dr.
Thank you,
Gentry.
Mrs. Poopa-Walker. So I want to actually acknowledge Women's History Month. Don't, it's okay. It's all right. Super excited about it.
You too, Ebenezer.
Yeah, he's an ally. So, we brag about this board being mostly women. And so I do want to thank you all for tonight's meeting, right? We talked a lot about a lot of great things that are happening in the district, a lot of great initiatives. So thank you, Dr. Battle, for that report. And thank you to your staff for getting up here and sharing and answering all of our questions. It's always greatly, greatly appreciated. There are great things happening in this district. We talked about last meeting some great outcomes and some great scores and growth where we're outpacing, right? The state, is that right? Yeah. Here in Nashville, Davidson County. We know that through funding challenges and some leadership challenges, we're digging ourselves out of a hole, but we're digging. And I then again want to thank you, Dr. Battle, for that. I want to thank you also earlier for the discussion about our priorities, which we do through our budget. And so thank you, Mrs. Player-Peters, for leading us in that discussion where we revisited the priorities that were established by this board. And we talked about those things. We talked about teacher pay. We talked about support staff pay and what that's going to cost and what that ask is going to be. We know that we may be challenged in getting another $88 million, but there are going to be some hard decisions that this board needs to make so that our priorities are recognized and reflected. The priorities of any organization is in its budget and budgeting. On another note, Jeannie stole my thunder. I had a couple of F-bombs I wanted to drop today, but she apologized. So I feel a little undermined, so I'm going to let that slide. But I do want to, again, as Ms. Elrod, I got the opportunity to participate in Read Me Day in person and not over Zoom. So that was super exciting over at Churchwell Elementary. And to thank Mrs. Frida Player-Peters and Christian Buggs, who led or participated in a panel yesterday? It was just yesterday.
No, yesterday.
That was yesterday. No, Monday.
Yesterday
okay.
was Monday.
4 hours ago.
educating a bunch of women who are members of the Links Incorporated in what is known in the central area. They come from across the state of Tennessee, representing, living in those large urban school districts, and they did a phenomenal job of answering a lot of questions and giving great explanation about what BEP is, what it isn't, the challenges it provides and imposes for large urban school districts, and that's the kind of messaging and advocating we need to do as board members, and they volunteered to do that for me, and I greatly appreciate that as well. So part of our job is advocacy. Part of our job is to understand that to bear this burden and to lift and to elevate this district requires us to not necessarily chastise, but to go out and let others understand who have an impact on our ability to do that they do have a responsibility to provide us with assistance so that we have the right resources to put into place the appropriate levers to make the change. And that does go from what we do in the classroom and how we support our certificated, our non-certificated employees as well. So I want to thank each of you who come here a couple of times a week and then everything you do between coming here a couple of times a month, on behalf of our students, our teachers, and our family, and all of those individuals who serve in any role when it comes to educating our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gentry. Ebenezer.
Thank you. Yeah, I do want to recognize today as Women's. We do celebrate women, and I want to celebrate the most important woman in my life, which is my mother. And I want to give her a shout out because even to this day, she still wakes me up at 6 a.m., even though I'm 17, I own an alarm clock. She wants me to, start my day with a kind conversation with her, and it reflects on how important women play in our society as not only mothers, but in every other aspect. I also want to talk about Quest Bridge, which is a beautiful program for high schoolers, and their College Prep Scholars Program is open for application until March 24th, Thursday, and they're basically trying to help students who come from backgrounds that might not, let them be able to compete with other students that might have a better background because of, money and other aspects. So to all juniors, you have until March 24th to apply and to be part of something that can be very helpful. I also want to give a shout out to the MLK basketball team. We did win district and region, but we sadly lost yesterday in sub-state. But no matter what, we still played very great, and we showed our school spirit and also our MNPS spirit, and I'm really proud of them. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Ebenezer. I want to first say that everyone should be watching the legislature right now. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are days that most education amendments or bills are proposed. You can stream them online. You are certainly welcome to go to the Capitol just to see it in person and understand the democratic process. It might enlighten you, because it certainly enlightened me, and it was the reason that I ended up running for a school board seat, just understanding the kinds of conversations they were having around education. So again, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, typically at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays, 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, 3 p.m. on Wednesdays in the Senate. So please, please, please go to capitol.tn.gov. You can look at the agendas. You can see the amendments. You can't see caption bills. That'll be another conversation for another day about the sneakiness, but just know that you can at least see basic policy. I want to shout out Pencil for their continued tutoring efforts. I have enjoyed being able to tutor my student at John Early, and anyone in the community. I think the time has passed to be able to sign up for a new. Oh no, you can still sign up. You can still sign up to tutor. The school board. Our staff, our community members can sign up to tutor our students to make sure that we meet benchmarks and that our students are getting all the resources that they need. It's only 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. It moves very quickly, but it is so worth it and so enlightening. I thank those people that came to join us today for public participation, or just to again participate in our democratic process. And we will often disagree because none of us are a monolith. We will all have different ideas, ideals, and foci. But please continue to come out and engage the school board. And I thank you for doing so appropriately. I said what I said. We did have a 4 o'clock budget meeting today. Unfortunately, everyone couldn't be there to talk about the priorities around staffing and funding, but we will continue to have those.
again, we might even engage in a new retreat. At the same time, Dr. Gentry, I'll follow up with you because maybe this time everyone can engage in the director's evaluation. We can have all 9 board members actually evaluate our only employees. So I'll follow up with you about what the next evaluation cycle will look like. The substitute shortage. I think last year there was an engagement on Facebook with some teachers around having parents sign up to be subs. Unfortunately, I found out that the school board cannot substitute, but we certainly engaged, or certainly would encourage the rest of the community to consider signing up to be a substitute teacher. It really is a rewarding experience, especially if you get with the little babies, but I don't want to ignore the big babies. So with that, there's so much more that I could say and want to say, but be there no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.